That Massey bit was kind of that was
Is that not the epitome though of America's like political discourse? Is
it
that,
is. It is.
You know, it is like, it's almost Dr. Frankenstein-esque, you know, just
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, you know, the monster wasn't his name, but it's just like, yeah, well, look at what we got to deal with.
Oh my God. But anyways, we are live on YouTube and on my not Facebook, on my
your favorite place to be.
Twitter, exactly. My life, my joy, my everything on Twitter. So there you go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 37, almost catching up to Content Minded, episode 37 of the Digital Archipelago, where we talk about many things. I really like the title though, but maybe we'll use your title for next time. Like I like the title.
What did I suggest for last? What did I write?
It's like Janny's, Journos, and something else.
Oh, yes.
What was it?
Trying to find it now.
Jocks, Janny's, I forget.
Janny's, Journos, and Jest.
It certainly wasn't another J word, but anyways, that would get nuked off of YouTube so hard. We have our good friends, Dean Corso, and of course Grayson Quay in the chat. So thank you.
Hello, friends.
And Everett, Fishy Frenzy. Jacob J. I forget to call people out, but so anyways, yeah, this week has been quite. We were thinking of what to do, but then we were like, oh, there's so many happenings. Let's just do an article week where we cover some. We'll go first hour. We'll go through 2 articles, and then I know it's on everyone's
and now the news
lips, and now the news, exactly. It's one of those weeks, which I mean, I noticed people love. Actually, people love those times. Yes, exactly, Frazier. We are going to talk about the recent fun posting IRL by it really is tragic because I feel like
you want to just get that out of the way.
You want to do that first? Okay.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way.
I feel like I could have saved her, but I mean, a lot of people were posting that, I noticed, but I have a few bullet points, but you know what, Prude?
Let's
do the shilling. No, you go first and then we'll go for it because let's do the shilling first. So yesterday I released amazing, incredible episode to make up for the fiasco that was me having to re-edit the 0HP Lovecraft episode. The almighty Morgoth. And it's funny because I think I covered about half of what I wanted to cover with him. So Morgoth definitely will come back again on Content Minded. And of course, it was one of the first episodes in a long time, at least a few months, that reached 2K viewership on the first few days. So that's pretty cool. I got a bunch of subscribers as well, and that's really great. And it's funny, Gathultide even like retweeted it, or what do they call it in Telegram? Reposted it, forwarded it.
They forwarded it.
So yeah, I couldn't believe that. You know, I wonder if. Listen, I don't exactly agree with Thultide on our favorite guy there in the Kremlin, but I mean, I wonder if he does podcasts. He probably does. I mean, I hope maybe he'll do like a voice changer, like ZHP does. But anyways, that was great. It was really laid back. I feel we covered a lot of great stuff. There is one work story though I had to paywall because it involved a live fornication show that I don't know if. Yeah,
I've heard this story.
Okay, yeah, but the way he tells it was fascinating. Like, I love when Morgoth tells the stories. You know, it's really great. But I love Morgoth, man. I'm really blessed. A lot of people that I wouldn't say grew up, but like a lot of people that I watched years and years ago. Now that they come on the show, it's really quite special. So. That's pretty great. Bunch of great guests. I don't know. Next week I'm gonna have to release the another solo variety mega show because exactly, Mr. Patchouli, give me money. Give money. Sneed those super chats, okay? Please sneed those super chats. Sneed those super chats. Oh boy. Give me money or a manual typewriter, and as well as Prude, give him your blessings and love. His subscribe star. And all of his paywalled content on Subscribe Stars down there below in the links. and also my links as well to my Patreon and my Substack, and as well as Prude's Substack. And yeah, so next week it's going to be another Solo Variety Mega Show because I have a Q&A up on my Patreon. Become a patron to participate in that Q&A before I read all of them. So there you go. And Prude also has a very great article he released last week. And you have a very interesting. I don't know how you're gonna get her on YouTube, but this Saturday you're gonna talk about her favorite. No, I'm kidding. Listen, we're all part of the same Thiel Andreasen network. That is no, I'm not gonna make a joke about that because then some spurg is gonna be like, Prudentialist, Z-word-ist, Matt&Gio, Z-word-ist. So, what are you covering this Saturday, Prude? What are you covering? Favorite nation in the Middle East?
I'm actually covering the Putin Z Summit, and I'm going to have Christopher Sandbach and our good friend Charlemagne on, so that'll be happening on Prudent Observations live this Saturday at 3:15 or 3 o'clock Eastern, and then from there, I had a recent and really good conversation with our friend Kruptos that you've also recently had on Content Minded.
Yeah.
We sort of talked about his writings, his perspective on the Christian church and Christian organization in the midst of growing persecution, especially in places like Canada or the UK and some parts of the United States. We also did talk about some recent happenings that also occurred this week as well. And then I just put up the patron Q&A episode, both behind the paywall for channel memberships as well as for Substack backers and Subscribestar. So if you are supporting me in either which way, there will always be ways to access the patron-only Discord server, so you guys can suggest videos, ideas for me to come on and review, books to review, alongside Patron Book Club, which will start again next month on April. Let's see. I think we picked it for April 22nd. Will be next book club. We'll be covering Joseph de Maistro's first series of essays in Imperium Press, and then later this weekend, there'll be another Real Talk that's early access for patrons, and then I'll have a few more essays out. I'm going to send something over to Intellectual Takeout as well coming soon. So very busy week. Your ongoing support is greatly appreciated, and next week we'll have the Digital Archipelago over on my channel. So, and I'll be on Patrick Casey's Restoring Order later this evening, tonight, with our good friend Ryan Turnipseed. So that's what I've got going on for you guys as well.
Nice. And it's yeah, it's pretty cool. So happy birthday to Bubbly over here. It's his birthday, so Bubble got dark spit. Happy birthday, my friend.
Many years.
Thank you so much. Many years. How old are you now? I mean, if you don't want to dox your age, that's but anyways, getting to the recent happenings. Oh boy. I can almost hear like the logo did Atlas voice of like, this is just culture war distraction. But I had a little bit of a rant on my Telegram. Go to my Telegram. I need more Telegram people. Let me share the link actually. Let me share the link because it's like I want to get to 2K like you have on Telegram. So it's just telegram.com/Giant Productions. Where is view channel info? There you go. Link copied. All right, here it's going to post in the chat. There you go. Please, I want to get to 2K. I want to grow my Telegram because Telegram I treat as a not a micro blog, but a small blog of stuff that I want to get off my chest. Like basically Telegram and shorts on YouTube are where I do my short form because my long form is of course Substack. And of course I'm writing my book, which I have to finish by July, and I'm almost done the Norman Rockwell chapter. So
all right,
it's going to be good. I actually there's one little bit where I say that Norman Rockwell is between Rockwell Kent, who is a communist artist but also a mystic, and highly recommend his wood engravings, and of course the other Rockwell in American life at that time, which I don't think I could say on YouTube, George Lincoln Rockwell. So anyways, being, Norman Rockwell being the eternal lib. So anyways, I am long form and current ever because every time I try to write something, like I try to be like, I'm just going to do like between the 800,000 word. I can never do it. Okay. It has to be 10 pages long every time I actually write an article. But anyways, yeah, what's my book about, Grayson? It's about neoliberal kitsch and humans of flat design, but more likely neoliberal kitsch. It's going to be about the a sort of genealogy or concept that I'm doing, basically denoting aesthetics of the 21st century in the 2020s. And so it's pretty open ended though. I'm not like trying to make like the typical here is my manifesto ebook. So, and it's with a legit like publisher as well, a small, vanity publisher, but yeah, so it's more like on the professional side. So I'm actually thinking getting Lambda to do the audiobook for it. So that's wonder if
He has a whole channel called Lambda Reads where he's read bits from Carlyle on qualified reservations and the Bible.
Yeah. There you go.
He does need to narrate the Bible.
He must narrate the Bible, but that'll take a long time. But anyways, you go ahead, Prude, on your thoughts on it, and I have some other thoughts. But keep in mind, Prude, that we're on YouTube and
oh, that's why I left all the. This is
Twitter.
This is why Telegram is a great release valve for people that want to scream into the void and say things that don't get them banned off Twitter or YouTube.
Yeah, so we're gonna use words like impossible man,
impossible women.
Possible women, yeah. So
we have our meme, we have our logo for it. But no,
you can say trans on YouTube, but you can't I don't think you can't say like excessive.
Yes, but we have a meme for impossible women. That's why we go with it.
Exactly, 100% Creole language of the internet. So
true.
Yeah, that it's funny because me and I even mentioned. I mean, I know Default has taken some lumps recently, but let's not kick up some worms. Let's not,
You don't want to kick another hornet's nest.
Kick another hornet's nest. There you go. Yeah.
Well, let's get into the recent bits there. There was a take by the Distributist, and this is not meant to call him out, but I think that it highlighted some general exhaustion or some exasperation that, a lot of the takes that are being said here, you could apply this to other events as well, that there is a very unique identification with evil that has been inverted to be associated with the good, especially those that were cheering on this.
I had the same take as him.
Yeah.
I wrote it down, actually. Holy crap. Anyways, yeah, go ahead.
And I had said the same thing. I mean, I've said the same thing with other. I mean, there's a strict identification with evil. They clap for joy, individuals that supported this kind of tragedy. In the same way that, they say General Sherman was based for killing tens of thousands of people in his march to the sea
John
in
Brown
Atlanta.
was based for...
they'll say people like John Brown was based. They'll say that, the guys that killed and martyred Tsar Nicholas II and his family, they were based and things like that.
That's uniquely disgusting right there.
It is. And the more you actually read about the royal family, the more you kind of realize that Western historiography doesn't paint a very good picture of him in retrospect. But it's really depressing to see everything play out the way that it is. And now in 3 different states, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, and one of them is happening right now, there's their own mini little transurrection going on. And I don't even want to give it...
Transurrection.
I don't even like giving it a meme name here, because what do you have to deal with is that the right wing talks a lot about demographics change in terms of race and ethnicity. I don't think that they understand how bad the social programming is for Generation Z.
Yeah.
And so, we've talked about this before when we talked about like the Rizoma School, Ashley Colby, fighting that happened when she got published in the American Mind. The caveat with women like her or Mary Harrington or anyone, or even, Louise Parker, who wrote the Case Against Sexual Revolution, is just that everyone born after 1975, more or less, Gen X onwards, we're all we're all inoculated. We're all brought into this weird sort of sexual revolution. And I mean, we're in, Lord knows we're built into it, no matter how many red pills we may take into it. Like, that's the world we live in. And so one of the things that, in regards to demographics, that I think is the big debate of the coming years, was that there was an article by Politico coming into right before the midterms last year, October of 2022. And it said, the research conducted by the Human Rights Campaign in Bowling Green State University from Kentucky, and based on data from the U.S. Census Bureau, finds that by 2030, approximately 1 in 7 voters will be some kind of LGBTQ alphabet soup thing. The research expects to see that share grow to nearly 1 in 5 by 2040. Now, that's not sustainable. It won't be. But considering the fact that they have gone after the one thing that can sort of inhibit this sort of socialization, which is the family, and more by extension, children. If they can take away the rights of parents, if they can take away, and this is also coupled with parental abdication and the idea of children being liberated to do what they want and internet access and things like that.
Yeah.
How easy it can be to access everything from things like subreddit egg IRL, which is a disgusting cesspool of people, to people saying like, oh, you played Fallout New Vegas, you must be a trans person. That's quintessential trans core, which I don't know how on earth you get from there to there. But there are some arguments where it's like, well, playing as a woman in video games, right, kind of gets you different social advantages in a different space. So it's, if you can translate that to the real world, there's some sociology there. But at the same time, whether or not that's sustainable or not is, I think it's very clear that it isn't. But, when you're trying to get the masses in such a direction that anything but normality based upon biology, social norms, what every civilization has ever been built upon throughout all of human history, not just the West, then we're heading towards a disaster. And when you can create a class of individuals, what is modern Western politics and democracies than leveraging patron classes to make sure that they can support whatever agenda or political organization that you have going. And for the longest time, what has this been? Again, it's nothing new under the sun. From Biden telling people that Mitt Romney is going to put blacks back in chains to now
He said that?
Yeah, he did back in the 2012 election.
Mitt Romney?
No, but Joe Biden claimed that Mitt Romney would put blacks back in chains.
What?
Yeah.
Mitt Romney's like not even he's like the lib. Like he's not anything now. He's a neocon.
But they turn every Republican presidential candidate into the next, who
monster. Yeah. The next.
I mean, it's the hauntology of an Austrian painter. I mean, that's the year zero for the West. And so when you get all these individuals, and see, now it's not just they're going to put y'all back in chains. Now it's associated with the word genocide. And when you can create a mentally ill on bodily and hormonal altering substances and either don't have a good relationship with their parents, they're overly online, they're completely deracinated, they idealize a revolutionary state, you've got millions of people that are poised and likely to do what they think is necessary in the name of self-defense for their right to exist. And because they're on the side of the left, well, in the state of exception is, well, lefties can commit violence carte blanche. The right can't. And so the real foregone conclusion is that what the tragedy that happened in Nashville, and it's even more depressing that one of those 6-year-old girls that was killed was trying to raise the fire alarm, and she did successfully, warning other people. Those martyrs, and that's what they are the first, I think, of what will be many more events like this to come.
Yeah, expect more of this to come.
So those are my thoughts.
It reminds me of what Verlio talks about in Art and Fear about a pitiless art. I'm actually reading it right now because of my research.
Great book.
Yeah. Do you have Art and Fear?
Yeah, I have most of Aurelio's stuff.
Oh man, so you know about Stiltak and everything, right? Yeah. When he talks about like from Girikal to up until Stiltak, where like there is always like a mortification of the body rendered into flesh that is like subject to a particular like medical gaze, and this, of course, to Verlio influences the work of art. So I feel like having like imbibed a lot of what I term neoliberal kitsch, a lot of it is like if you look at like these leftoid like trans artists, right? A lot of them have a celebration in a very like kitschy, affirmative way of like the same mortification of the body being subject of a particular medical gaze, but only now it's sort of the same. I know this term is abused because of our friend in Sweden, right? But it's true. It is almost like a Gnosticism of the body. It's sort of like a Manichaean approach of like, what's the basic phrase in the Cyborg Manifesto? If nature is unjust, then just change nature, right? So but the narrative of this is very fascinating to me. Like I can go a bit more into it, where like, for example, Virilio talks about how uh, nothing is, uh, nothing is required for this profane art besides the mortified and the vivisected body and a camera, and the sort of splaying out of the human subject. No longer is it like the sacredness of the body, but now in the hands of the German expressionists, now, of course, because of coming out of the World War One,
Yeah.
you have the body is contorted. The body is now is war zone, literally. So now this war zone, in my opinion, if you look at the early representation in the work of art of like quote unquote trans body, even in the ancient world, the idea of the andrine, people like Peloton and the symbolists, no longer is like this sort of like this sacred alchemy going on. Now you have this period of mortification. Now you have this period of kitchification of the non-binary body, put it that way, to where now it's like this sort of weird bodily secular metaphysics of, I'm affirming my identity, speaking it into existence, right? But so the work of art is always going to accompany this. You have these illustrators with Wacom tablets and the coding socks. You know what I mean? You get the picture. So there's a reason why, and again, I know I hate to bring up Default because she's on the outs with a lot of people, but she was right about how the way that like a lot of these like post-Tumblr coding socks artists, the way they represent themselves is like, I am this thing. This is literally me. Whereas the right wing, it's more of like, I am that template that is universal. I am a right wing bodybuilder, Bapian. I am a, Christian futurist, blah, blah, blah. It's like the difference being is that they personalize and individualize that representation. But that's besides the point. That's too nebulous. What I wrote down is there's like this air of old culture war battles of like Christians, and it's always like a very American Protestant version of Christianity, which is like the moral majority of like Pat Robertson, of like, there's no such thing as Christian love because they're cruel and they're and they're like, to them, to the media and to these activists, it's like you're evil because you're not affirming like the Jesus loves everyone. And it's always this like, now this person is pushed to going out there and committing acts of mass casualty fun posting because that person is justified because because Tennessee is going to ban quote unquote childhood affirming care. And this is like this, to them, it's like this sacred obligation of purification through violence, which has always been a very profound leftoid myth, like of all time, really, since the Bolshevik Revolution, obviously. So, and then I wrote down about how this warped sense of compassion is carried into viewing the impossible woman, the impossible man, this identity group as being within a state of exception that must fight for their authenticity, and any sort of casualty, including like literal children, is justified because they're in this like this sort of like the sort of the politics of liberalism post World War II. And I feel like even Thomas 77 doesn't talk about this as much, is that state of exception, is that you are a state of exception, you are the homo sacer, the Muslim, and that you must do anything you can to fight your way because the Austrian painter is just around the corner and society is descending into fascism. It's the Brown Scare all over again. But when people talk about the Brown Scare, they don't talk about how these identity groups on the left view themselves as a state of exception that must be, they must fight for authenticity through violence, essentially. Whether it's the violence of like doxing the chuds. There was a thread once by this anti-you-know-what person, I remember, that talked about like, it's no problem if you just randomly dox and harass and go after like a small like chudling, like some guy with a Twitter account, because it's like they go into like the mass, because of course as you know, fascism has no character. We're basically just like one mass blob that doesn't have any subjective voice whatsoever to them. Like, this is like the typical Umberto Eco thesis. So when you actually analyze this, like the left-wing thinking, you can easily see how this culminates into an actual picture of stochastic, T word. Because because really when your enemy is a mass of like Christian, xenophobic, white nationalist hatred, then it's very easy to say that they're going to like basically put me in a state of exception unless I do something about it. And then, as we know, a lot of these activists were cheering on, or if they can't publicly cheer on, at least they'll create an apologia for it. And my last point is, whenever a leftoid goes out and does something, whether it was like the summer of love in 2020, or it's like this event, or there's other events, or like going after congressmen or whatever, it's always the narrative, which I really despise and I hate. And I know this is from my like normie conservative days, of the hypocrisy of it. I know like calling it hypocrisy is useless because they don't view it as hypocrisy, obviously. But it really is disgusting about around the narrative of these events when they say that, oh, the media depicts like right wing people that go and commit crimes, or like, you know, people like Dylan and Eric or whatever. They depict them as like, oh, they were like lone wolves and they were like objects of pity or whatnot. When in actuality, have you seen any like, you know, sympathy for the Christland guy in the media? Or like, it's ridiculous. Anyone who with half a brain could say that, could see that the media does nothing but demonize like the act of like one person towards the whole group of anyone who is like to the right of like Ocasio-Cortez. Like, this is an obvious fact, but they have to pretend as if there is like this right-wing media apparatus because Tucker Carlson is like led onto the air, that somehow, you know, the whole media apparatus is against them, and it's the myth of the underdog all over again. So it's very easy to like go out there and say like, and we've all seen the tweets, because of course us people on the right, we like take those tweets and we like amplify them, right? We've all seen them where they're like, you know what, this person did what they did in Nashville and it's justified because they're going to do it to us, and it's like we better get them when they're young. You know, it's like, I've seen tweets that literally say that these Christian white kids are going to grow up and they're going to oppress trans bodies or whatever. I've seen this, you know what I mean? Like, I've heard this. It's not a lie. But what they do is they'll focus on like Tucker Carlson and they'll say that the whole media is against them. It's like just such a terrible, gutless lie that it really infuriates me, even though I know it shouldn't, because, you know, when normie cons, all they'll do is they'll talk about hypocrisy, and that's never going to work because to them it's not hypocrisy.
Well, they're doing that.
They genuinely believe it.
They're doing that even now, right? With the recent all the current insurrection thing that they're doing. They're just memeing on it or talking about how this is like, well, imagine if this was like January 6th and whatever. And so it just goes back into this feedback loop of,
can we say J6 on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a fully monetized video on J6. I think we're okay.
Oh, okay. Which totally did happen. It was an insurrection. We endorsed, listen to the YouTube Jennies. We endorsed, I can't even, you know, it's so disgusting. I can't even say it.
We endorse electoral justice protests.
Exactly.
Simple as.
Yeah.
But no, they're memeing about it and they're poking fun at it. Like, this person just killed 6 of your own, 3 of them children under the age of 10. And what are we doing? We're memeing about how this is Tranuary 6th, or that it's the transurrection. And, you know, I get it. Clicks. You know, you got to get your views. But you're amplifying the very fact that these people are a ravenous mob that are given carte blanche judicial support by the state. And this is the state of exception. And when you can find that out through
the actual one, not the fake one.
Yeah, like, this is, I mean, when you can create a quote-unquote state of emergency, like full Schmittian here, what's the state of emergency? Well, it appears right now in certain states in the U.S., there's going to be an entire, you know, class of victimhood that is going to be erased. And so we have to take action. And so this justifies, you know, posts about people learning how to purchase firearms for their defense. This is where, you know, you'll see people saying like, oh, a fasci was lifting and training today. Are you going to lift and get swole for, oh yeah, Grayson, it's the worst thing ever. They'll say this about race too. Like, oh, black and brown bodies. They will dehumanize and objectify anybody for the sake of maintaining this like cognitive dissonant space to ensure that whatever they're talking about is an abstraction, because all things for like white leftoids are always going to be about how can I put myself in a way where I'm not abdicated, like where I'm not going to be implicated in this racism, or I'm not going to be
Yeah.
implicated in this awful thing, because they are trying so hard not to end up like, the Frenchmen in the Haitian Revolution. Because even if they support, freedom from slavery, they know what comes next. And we saw this in virtually any other sort of
Oh yeah,
like,
the Haitians butchering children, that was also justified to them.
oh
They
yeah, to
you
them
know.
it's the same thing. And I
They have
think
kitschy. I mean, I think I'm going to talk about my book. They have this one artist that does these like kitschy like revamps. Like one of them is like Delacroix, but it's like a Haitian woman like beheading a white French guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
so they yeah
this is accessible stuff too. I mean, you can find this on Twitter. It's not hard.
yeah.
And so, you create again. We have a state of emergency, whether that be climate, democracy being imperiled. These rural whites that didn't like how the election went out, and now we have like these trans individuals, and
Yeah.
this is the start of an ongoing low level conflict or low
America's
intensity
descending into
conflict.
political cults. Yeah,
Yeah, and so
essentially.
when you can create a series of political cults, or to borrow, Catherine's favorite use of the term, fandom,
Yeah.
um, you're going to see this happen a lot more. And what is going to matter in the future, especially if you live in the United States or really in any other country in the West where the government hates the people that built the country, is that it'll be very important whose political fandom you choose or political cult that you choose, because on one hand, there will be some that will just engage, and I wrote a whole article about this, the not so emergent troll gaze. There will be some that will advocate for the spectacle. They will be like DeBoard and just be happy to get clicks and call things Tranuary 6th, the transurrection, and so on.
Oh God.
They will, but they won't do anything
Yeah.
about it. On the other hand, you can do what is necessary, I think, to learn how to network, grow things on your own, have reliable business skills and networks, automotive repair, etc. That stuff will matter a lot
No people in
more.
local government.
And people in local government, things that I've tried very hard on my own channel to push for, because it feels really difficult for a lot of people, because it's like, oh, like people want politics to be this grand sweeping meta narrative that will somehow like lead to the charge where we can like storm the Bastille
They
on,
want the aestheticization of politics.
yeah, they want that more than anything, because they want the idea that, oh, I could storm the Bastille on Monday, and by Friday I'm still having beers with the buddies. I'm not running a government. And if you did that right,
Yeah.
you'd end up like the Taliban, where you hate your wagey government bureaucrat job. You miss it when
You
you could
got
like,
what you wanted, boys.
yeah, you got what you wanted, right? The great Satan is out of your country. Now you have to run it, that's the other hand of it. But the thing that I've noticed, and this
They'll
was,
hire Chinese people to run things.
oh, eventually, right?
Eventually,
They'll outsource like the
well,
rest
they're
of
cutting.
us.
Yeah,
Um,
they're cutting deals with Xi right now. So.
They'll outsource like the rest of us. But this was the thing that I kind of had noticed as of late, and this might get me some pushback, but we talk about, like, I've noticed online, right? And the word is fun to use. Don't get me wrong, but like the word base world, right? Like,
Yeah,
when
base
base
were
world
within our
happens,
reach.
yeah, it's within our reach, right? You know what, to me, what that sounds like? The end of history is in our reach.
Ooh, yeah, that's yeah, exactly.
The proletariat revolution, the classless societies within our reach, democracy for the whole world, and this chiliastic globalism, as Francis Fukuyama describes, is in our reach. Based world is within our reach. We still kind of fully haven't gotten ourselves suckered out of this end of Whig history BS.
Didn't Evola talk about not Evola, but was it Demeister Evola that said about like the right wing is like as in a revolutionary mode versus restorative mode? Like,
I'm pretty sure that's Evola.
yeah, but like that the right like a revolutionary mode would kind of look like year zero, but only like a based world version of it.
Yeah, and one of my
Yeah.
patrons asked me that in the patron Q&A video, which you can see my answer if you subscribe on Subscribestar, YouTube channel memberships, and Substack. But he asked me what are my thoughts on revolutionary conservatism, and that was more or less my concern, was like, you do have restorative versus revolutionary, and you get some individuals that are like, well, we can make Cthulhu swim right, and others that are like, well, if we do that, we're, I guess the angels of our better nature sort of questions arise. And that becomes the big debate that we've all been seeing for like the last 2 years, is the question of morality. And this is where you constantly see the fractures on the right over morals and religion.
or what group that we should focus on in
Yeah,
demonology.
yeah.
So I noticed there is like that discourse about like this is all just cultural distraction that actually
That
we have to
stuff
focus on.
matters. Like we've managed
No,
to
it does.
we psyoped an entire like here's the thing. We went in less than a decade. We went from the series finale of the original run of Will and Grace to I Am Jazz. Less than
Yeah.
a fucking decade. Like that's an insane thing to think about how quickly we've accelerated the idea of normalizing and trying to make things look way more humane than it is, rather than the average American taxpayer spending roughly $38,000 a year in order to subsidize accessible PrEP to maintain their lifestyle. On the same time, right, they're trying to push that in regards to hormone therapy, and we've changed the language now. Pregnancy and having a child rather than aborting it is forced birth, and now they're doing that now with
Affirmative care.
with trans care. They're saying it's forced adolescence or forced puberty. No one should have to undergo
Wow.
that. So when you can completely invert biology, I kind of feel like this is for anyone, right, from like the other, in the flyover country or someone not from the West looking in on this, they must feel like what's his name from it's like the anti-Heinlein novel, The Forever War, where like he comes back from the fight and the time dilation, he sees Earth in like the 2430s or whatever, and
Oh,
like
is that what is that?
everything is rationed, and it's state mandated homosexuality to curtail the population overload, and he's like straight, and he's not from this time, and
Oh,
so
what work is that?
I mean it's Forever War. Who wrote that? Joe Haldeman,
Oh,
back in the 70s.
oh my God.
Yeah.
He predicted it. Really?
But yeah, this was his way of sort of giving the finger to Robert Heinlein.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously if we lived in Highland world, that would be based, but it's not gonna, I don't know. It's not it's out of our reach. It's out of our reach. But but I feel like that's what I mean. Like there are monumental like problems to overcome to have like a right-wing revolutionary movement or moment. I mean, every revolution was consented to
Well,
by a regime.
how many Freikorps exist in America that aren't like half a dozen confidential informants and some autistic guys?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, but that's what I mean, like the political moment. I mean, Thomas goes into this, right? About like the what happened like interwar period in Germany. How like that
Hmm.
laid the groundwork for the Austrian painter. Like it's no, even like the French Revolution like was consented to by more of like, by even like the atmosphere at the time in Europe. Like there was that book, Jay Dyer always recommends it. What's it called? Fire in the Minds of Men.
I think
That
that's
was
the
a great,
book.
yeah.
I don't watch
That's
any of his stuff.
no, but that was a great like when he broke down the book, it was a great,
Okay.
resource. But no, I mean there's always a moment that precedes these revolutions that happens. There's always sort of like there's always a power structure there to accommodate what happens next. And it's not like as simple as being like which I think like is the basis of like the critique of populism in the right, which is largely correct, which is that, you can't really expect just to like waver populist sentiment among a population and galvanize them and like then ergo translation revolution, like that's a like literal Bolshevik myth that even like Lenin even like admitted to that that's not how it worked, you know what I mean? So um it's very funny, but also like the problem is there's a whole cadre of like middle class, largely white women that watch like daytime television, that see like medical shows, and that believe this stuff because they're not going to question it. And there's, I mean, like, let's face it, who has like real political power in America? It's like whatever the consumer demographic is. And if you could like feed them a nonstop diet of like medical shows and like Mariska Hargitay, SVU, it's like, it's not it's I hate to say it, but I feel like a lot of people that are terminally online, they don't account for the fact that a lot of people watch subversive media and a lot of people are literally like Netflix humans. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like even like stuff that is like well artistically done, like you mentioned Will and Grace. Like there's even like which I mean I've defended it before in the show, but because it was a real story, but you know, you have like Boys Don't Cry. That's like immediately the first thing I saw. Like this person that did this mass casualty probably watched Boys Don't Cry back in the day, you know. And yeah, I don't know, like I don't know what to think about it without blackpilling. I mean, I saw that one black pill take. I think it was it Dago or was it Breast Milk Enjoyer that said when you look at like the war like in the Middle East, like in the 2000s about the Muslims thing, like there's more Muslims in Europe and now than ever. I mean, of course they're being liberalized. They're being turned into like, you know, Morgoth had that tweet the other day about it, right?
Hmm.
That they're like sort of the empire is being administered, the heartland of the empire is being administered by the periphery, but the periphery, like the Muslims are becoming more like liberal and like, you know, like like it's like the Justin Trudeau version of his like perfect Muslim migrant, put it that way. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and so like I believe it was Breast Milk that said, you know, in a few years, it's the same thing. Or was it Patrick Casey? Or was it yeah, that said, you know, in a few years, unless we like really push, it's going to be a foregone conclusion that the demographic numbers of impossible women and impossible men are going to increase and it will become ubiquitous the way that Muslims are in Europe. And anything that they do that is antisocial, anything they do to children, anything they do to like whatever, that's going to be hand waved away the way that like the migrant crisis was in Europe. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a pretty huge black pill. I don't know how I mean, I know that in Europe there's probably a simpler solution. I mean, just clear them out. Like just like, you know, say that well, let's broker a deal with Syria, which I mean there's shades of that happening recently. Let's, you know, work something out with Erdogan. I mean, there's an easy solution. Like these migrants, they don't have a right to be in Europe the way they are. You know what I mean? Like this is foregone conclusion. But when they integrate into society, of course, it's very it's the same with like I know that people like not that I agree with this take, obviously. Like I think the way he worded it was very wrong. But it's like what Martyr Maid got into a lot of heat for with like immigration, you know,
Hmm.
that thread. It's like I think in Europe it's also equally difficult. I mean, it's simple, but it's equally difficult to actually implement like saying that maybe, you know, now that things are better in Syria, maybe refugees shouldn't like because let's face it, a lot of those migrants weren't exactly coming from war zones. They were economic migrants that just came along with like fault like, you know, with less than stellar passports and stuff like that. And like we know that a lot of fraud was happening the way that there's a lot of fraud with like illegal immigration in America. Um yeah, no, these things are very complicated, but they're also starkly simple at the same time. I don't know. What do you think of that? Like like Martyr May got into a lot of heat with that, but in a way, not to blackpill, but in a way he was sort of like saying that, well, actually, is there any force in America? There's popular
There's no
sentiment.
national will to do an
Yeah,
Eisenhower style Operation Wet Something 2.0.
yeah,
Um, there isn't. I mean, let's face it here. The political elite has a patronage system that is for anybody but more or less like the European
yeah.
founding stock and immigrants that came here. Most of the Ellis Islanders that moved into the Midwest and whatnot, right? Like,
Keep in mind, we don't condone any violence or any state-approved violence, of
yeah,
course.
yeah,
So
we're
no,
not advocating for you to go on a mass fun posting event either. But all that I'm saying is that like, there's no national will to do that. Like the political, unless you change the political patron system, like that's not going to change. Like the racial spoils system of this country is heavily oriented to ensure that we can diminish any alternate avenue of political change. This is the
yeah,
high-low versus middle model. Oh, the middle keeps voting and keeps doing things that we don't like. Well, we better change the demographics by flying a plane or busload of immigrants in there to make things more difficult for them. And we've
yeah,
seen this time and time again throughout political history, especially from Bill Clinton onwards. and it's not changing anytime soon. And I mean, this is the thing that made Trump so radical, was you had just had a president that had DACA prosecutorial discretion in terms of the executive authority. And now all of a sudden, the guy that, you know, is meant to speak for middle class white America, despite being like an eccentric New York billionaire,
Yeah.
was like, nah, you know, a wall sounds great. We should get these people out of here. We should deport them. And I really did wish we got the Chicago Tribune headlines of deportations start today. Like, that would have been great.
Oh.
But it never happened.
No,
and
but it's also, that is imbued with leftoid language.
no,
Like, that
exactly,
is,
exactly.
you know,
All of it is
evil,
like all of
state of
these,
exception. Yeah.
because they know how to weaponize it for what is morally good to them and what is morally evil to them. We live in two distinct Americas, two distinct. And again, like, this is Yarvin's idea of the two-story state in a series of essays, which he never finished, and I
Yeah.
don't expect him to ever finish his book either. So,
What does
that
Yarvin think of mass migration? And he probably,
doesn't give a shit. I don't know.
that's what I mean. Yeah, he thinks it's
He
cultural
views
distraction.
Middle America with, like, he's not, he knows he's not of them. You know, he's like his
the Mogatards.
well, he's got the Coriolanus essay. He's just like, listen, I'm not of this class or whatever. He's like, I don't like them, and so, but I don't like you either. But I would side with you guys over them because those guys are fucking insane. And it's just like, sure, but like, it's a whole other conversation.
We're gonna come up with a better way to administer them. Like, we can't, like, this is a Mogatard fantasy to, like, deport recent migrants. I mean, that's really, yeah. I mean, that's, I guess he would say. I wonder, has anyone ever pressed him on the immigration question? I wonder.
I'd have to go through some of his, like, more obscure UR posts. I think he's,
you know,
talked
it's
about
funny.
it.
I live in a way more libtarded country than America, and we had, like, up until, like, recently with Trudeau, we had a quite a good immigration system. I mean, of course. But now, like, that's the tragedy of it, is that we don't have the same problem as America. We don't have, like, I mean, we do actually. There is market. In fact, America is importing its migrants to Canada now. Did you know this? Up in Quebec,
Oh Lord.
the border crisis. Yeah, but I remember hearing this. This, like, I think it was the Minister of Migration or Immigration in Quebec that said that we can't stop them from coming up from America, because then what's going to happen is that they're going to resort to, like, the American equivalent of the sort of North American equivalent of coyotes to, like, smuggle them in, and they might get hurt. And I'm like, well, why can't we just crack down on both? Why can't we, like, crack down on, like, illegal border crossings and also the coyotes that smuggle them in here, that exploit them? So, like, oh, but we can't, because then that's harder. Because then, like, we just can't, okay? You know, this is what we're dealing with. So you can't enforce the border laws because people are going to use illegal methods of crossing the border. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was the Quebec immigration minister.
I mean, that's the other angle about this too.
It's a total, like, black pill, I know, but
Oh no, but I mean, the other angle about it too is just like, well, I don't know how bad, like, the situation is with, like, the Canadian American border. I mean,
well, no, because I think Biden is just sending them up to Quebec, and he's like, here you go, just go to Canada. I don't know the specifics, but if another leaf wants to,
well, if Biden is sending boatloads of people that don't stay here, on one hand, like, sorry Canada, you know, sucks to suck, but on the other hand, like, that's fucking awful, because Canada's already screwed in terms of its demographics and migration.
Well, because because Trudeau keeps importing them. Like, that's even more tragic than America. Like, America, there's, like, a refusal to, like, ensure the border. But in Canada, like, Trudeau literally just imports them. We don't have the resources to equip another 500,000 Canadians, quote unquote, every single year. I mean, that's just the material reality of it, is that Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal cannot accommodate so many different people all at once. So it's like, exactly. Yeah, Biden's pulling an Erdogan pill. Exactly.
That's true. There you
Send
go.
them to Europe. I don't care anymore. Like, it's,
you know, we should do that. We're just gonna. All right, guys. just all these like busloads of Venezuelans or Guatemalans that have just come up here. All right, we're gonna send you back to Spain. Listen here, Jack. I know where you came from. I'm sending you back, and just puts them on a boat to Spain.
Let's send the Cubans back to Cuba. That'll never happen. They're
That'll
just
never
white people
happen.
now. They're white people.
They're DeSantis voters now.
Yeah, so they're white people, exactly. To the Democrats, like Cubans are basically. Just
Are we gonna?
white
Are we?
people.
Yeah, that's the other bit. There was Jordan Peterson asking what's white.
What's white, anyways? People say I need to work on my. What last time? Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I do need to work on my.
On your Peterson or your Yarvin?
That was my Yarvin, but Peterson.
No.
Okay, Buckeye.
No, you have to do Jordan Peterson like Kermit the Frog.
Oh man,
that's the
what
way
is
that
a
you
white
do it.
person? Yeah, I can't do it.
I used to be able to do a pretty good Kermit the Frog impression. Just like I can't do it now. But I'm trying to conjure it up, but no. It's just
What
a
is
mess.
a white person?
Well, what do you mean by the word white? It's a complicated question to think about, or do we mean white in the sense that the Irish and Italians and Jews weren't, it's just like there's a disastrous tweet.
Young had a dream where he saw a white magician and a black magician in black clothing and white clothing. Then they came together in the psychic transference of the dream. And does that mean white?
Whatever your grandmother tells you, Dr. Peterson, whatever your grandmother tells you.
I love how had to revert. You know what's funny? Whenever I see the commercial on YouTube, he's like, I've teamed up with the Daily Wire because they give me the necessary freedom to operate. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like,
okay.
Did you see that thing? I think Keith Woods posted it where it was like it was Matt Walsh before he went for the Daily Wire.
Yes, I did see that.
Posted about certain people. That's pretty funny.
I mean, he wasn't doing too much other than cripping like Stephen Walt talking points from 2007. Yeah. And Walt is still relevant, so it's not like you could get canceled for that. But yeah, once you work for it's kind of over. You sell your your intellectual
sell your soul
soul.
A little, Ben. Yeah. What are you talking about? Matt Walsh, you're gonna have to listen. This online racist posted this thread, Matt. Is that what you said back in the day? Listen, Ben. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Listen,
Ben, I'll make a sequel to What Is a Woman.
Yes. I'll have what is a white person? That'll be another sequel. I'll be like, can't determine. Can you imagine Matt Walsh doing What Is a White Person?
Starring Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, you're right. No, Fraser, you're right. It's funny to believe Peterson, but I'm more disappointed than anything. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Buchanan apparently is non-white, though. He's by POC.
Well,
you know this?
He should have been president.
Yeah, he should have.
He would have been the first black president.
It's funny because you're going on Patrick Casey's show tonight. You should say that.
I love the Irish.
I love the Irish, exactly.
They're great people. With
I
great
have
beer.
to love. Yeah, I mean, I have to say I love the Irish because they have a very long memory. Did you know this?
Yes, that's why
they can keep a grudge.
This is why I check my car every day.
There's that one Irish guy that I pissed off on Twitter.
They don't forget.
They don't exactly. They don't forget. You're half Irish.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
that's why I make fun of them. My father's side came in the 1840s during the famine. My mother's side's been here since the beginning.
Oh, I should have sent them back. No, I'm kidding.
They just fought each other in the war between the states.
Yeah. I wonder how many Americans had family that fought both in the Confederacy and the Union. Probably a lot.
Well, according to the Civil War records, more or less both sides of my family and their sides of their family fought for both sides. But remember, kids, if you look up Richard Hanania's last name on the Civil War family registry records, you're not going to find any.
Yeah. Same with mine, but
you're not even an American.
I have family that went to America, but not
Gio,
like
you're Canadian.
No, I should say like I don't have family that fought in the War of 1812. That'd probably be a better one.
There you go.
There you go. And maybe I did. Well, I mean, my family's been here since my father's side has been here since before World War One. I believe the early 1900s. Maybe. Yeah. I'm gonna go with that. So yeah. But of course my grandfather came here because he had family here after the war. You know.
So what crazy article are we reading?
All right, we're gonna do that. Do you have any
Yeah.
thoughts on the current happenings or news? I saw this one take.
Well, what other current happenings?
I don't know.
There's a lot going on. You need to be specific.
There is, but like stuff I don't want to talk about on your show because then I'm gonna get us hot water. Fishy Frenzy asked, "No, I do not have. I mean, I haven't done a 23andMe, but I'm pretty certain I don't have that particular phenotype. But
according to Twitch, it is Mod Appreciation Day. So we just want to give a shout out to our Jannies. We love you. We have the best Jannies, don't we?
We have the best, the greatest. So there you go. Anyways, final thoughts on the Nashville incident.
I feel like I've given most of my take there, and
yeah, me too.
This is the first of many to come, and I think it is also a stark reminder for people that are ordinary, average, everyday Christians or that go to Christian schools and things like this. We have lived in a relative degree of safety and hegemony in the West for quite some time, especially in the United States. But the history of the Christian church has been, watered by the blood of martyrs, countless millions. So keep that in mind. That this is a part of what we sign up for when we engage in our relationship with Christ.
Can I say a controversial take before we go to the articles?
Sure.
I feel there's no way out of this because in both of the developing psycho-moral genesis of thinking on the political left and right, there is no recourse to, and I think like, I'm not saying this as a lament because normie cons like Jordan Peterson will say this as a lament, that why can't we go to the old days where we had a shared system of like looking at our humanity in this like common liberal system, blah, 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 blah. I don't believe in this. I think that the acceleration of things are happening for a reason. But in both the left and the right, in terms of the thinking in contemporary like culture war issues, there's no recourse. There's no playing to a common quote unquote humanity, because on the political right, we're also guilty of this as well, in that we really can't see a way out of it because there is no way out of it, because there's no way of looking at our opposition with anything but contempt. Because in the political left, the way they view it, and this moment is a galvanization point, because now you're starting to see people saying that when you run the numbers and go through the logic, and I'm sure people like Vaush, they say this, is that when you look at the numbers and the logic, right, you look at the data, those people aren't human because they're white Christians and they're evil and they hate us and they want to oppress us. And so therefore any action against them is justified. Yep. So there's no real way of looking through that. Really, honestly, like honest to God, there's no way of saying that there's a common source of filial loyalty or humanity or identity between the left and the right in the contemporary Western world. And we equally say the same, because we say the same. We say that which they do, and they have institutional power to do it, is that they want to redact the chuds. And ergo, they want to, like the Sam Hyde quote. I'm not going to say the full thing for YouTube, but you know the one, right? Children are, children
brainwashed and
R-worded and all sorts of stuff. And they laugh at you while they do it. So there is no things going forward, the sort of like normie con, let's go back to the 90s where we all agreed that like we were together in one nation. That's a thing of the past.
Well, I heard this on Lambda's his ongoing Lambster conversation stream that he's doing, his equivalent of Millennial for the Eastertide. And what he had, I don't know who it was that he was talking with, but he had said that for a lot of people who want to go back to the 1990s, it's like you fell asleep at the wheel and you just drove off a cliff and you've been jolted awake and you're thinking to yourself, oh man, if I could go back in time 35 seconds, I could, I wouldn't be falling off a cliff. But 35
Yeah.
seconds ago, you were asleep at the wheel. Or that you were digging a hole and now you're stuck down in the hole and you're like, man, I wish I was like not doing this like 20 minutes ago. But 20 minutes ago, you were still halfway down the hole. Like
Yeah.
this is the issue. Is that most of our atomization has gone back much further than most of our living memory would detail, and it is
Oh,
only
yeah.
accelerated in the post 2007 smartphone social media generation.
And that's actually the subject of an article we're covering.
Yes, it is.
That's a good transition from the black pill. So this is from Wired magazine. It really pisses me off because
oh, it's
Wired
not just
magazine,
from Wired magazine, but it's like a 30-year-old article from Wired magazine.
Yeah, exactly. That's what pissed me off is that Wired magazine going down, like being wokeified. It's like not what it is. Like Wired magazine used to be quality kino, and like those old articles, like in my Patreon, I covered the for Gen Reviews, I covered The Future Without Us, The Future Doesn't Need Us by what's his name, Bill Joy. And this is let me go to the screen share. How do we do that? Present slides, share screen. Where is it? There we go. Oh, this is the first one. Well, this is the second one we're gonna read. But here we go. From Wired magazine, the infamous, famous Otaku article from 1993. Oh my god, January 1993. I was only. Is it January? Yeah.
January 1st.
I was not even a month old. I was like a few weeks. I was like January 1st. I was like 2 weeks old when this came out. So, because I was born in December. Okay, so I was born December 23rd, 93. Sorry, 92. I would have been how old?
You have his birthday, his face, his first and last name.
Exactly.
Hack his bank account, boys. Give him a bunch
Half
of money.
my. Sneed those super chats, fellas. Sneed those super chats. I would have been how old from December 23rd to January 1st?
You would have been like 8 days.
8 days old.
8 or 9 days.
Exactly. I was like 8 or 9 days old when this article came out. The incredible, strange mutant creature who rule the universe of alienated Japanese zombie computer nerds. Otaku to you.
That almost reads like a Richard Deck thing.
It does.
A Francis C. Deck thing.
It does. It does. By Carl Tar Greenfield. This was the infamous, famous Otaku article in Wired magazine. So 3 years ago, the serene Japanese Tokyo bedroom community of Hana was shaken by a series of grisly crimes. From preteen girls were abducted, I can't say those on YouTube, to spree redacting. The New York Times described it as un-Japanese. But I think I remember when I was watching some true crime thing about this. The perpetrator who had sent bone and teeth fragments to the grieving families couldn't have been more Japanese. The redactor enticed children. Let's skip. Defense of the Warp's client, Miyazaki's attorney claimed the video and reality emerged. So this is the genesis of a lot of anime, by the way, this case. Miyazaki couldn't tell gory fact from gory fiction. Not the director, the guy that Tsusumu Miyazaki. Much publicized trial thing was clear. A new generation of antisocial, nihilistic whiz kids had arrived. The sensitive young men of Japan had arrived. Finally. So, oh boy, that's terrible. Dubbed Otaku.
It's like, I don't think you want to associate with murder.
Unless you're posting about sensitive young men on Twitter with an anime avatar. But anyways, former would have saying you in Japanese, much like calling a friend sir. First identified by Spa magazine in 1986. This is how far Otaku goes. There were these kids educated to memorize reams of contextless information in preparation for filing in bubbles of multiple choice entrance exams. Now in their late teens and 20s, most are either crammed for college exams or stuck in cramming mode. They relax with sexy manga or violent computer games. They shun society's complex web of social obligations and loyalties. The result, a burgeoning youth generation of at least 100,000, millions now, basically, tens of millions. Hardcore otaku, estimated up to 1 million, have been bandied about in the Tokyo press, who are too uptight to talk to a telephone operator, but who can kick ass on keyboards of a PC.
See, I like this, though. This is an
Yeah.
interesting devolution. Where, well, actually, no, there's two versions of it. You know, you get your Spencer Grunhauer types
Oh, yeah.
who are too uptight or too enlightened to talk to the telephone operator or to like order at a restaurant. And then on the other side, you have the sensitive young person who's likely to be like transmogrified into
Yeah.
a disgusting mockery of nature's perfection. And what's the word I'm looking for? And they'll be like, oh, you know, too shy or too cowardly to talk to them. So
Exactly.
yeah.
No,
Which
but
way,
they'd rather not.
sensitive young man? Which way are you going to be left alone in the cowardice of social awkwardness to be transmogrified? Or are you going to be the newly enlightened Spencer Grunhauer that must be based at all costs?
No, exactly. But they'd rather not talk to the roasty down the street because it's undignified.
Yeah,
In a
that's why
different
he's
society,
that's
they
why
would.
this is why, you know, you have to write your manifesto on the equal distribution of wives.
Yo,
You
Which
need
I
to
can
read Dan
imagine-
Baltic's book Nutcracker, out now on Terror House Press.
go and buy it. It's great. It's
It's
amazing.
a great book. Gio wrote the foreword.
Yeah, and it reads like something you'd find on the Amarna forums, like what Grunauer was writing about the distribution of wives. So, anyways, 0 HP Lovecraft 25 Zero is a self-proclaimed otaku who flunked out of Kyoto University math department because he didn't like being ordered around by teachers. He was a sensitive young man. He felt superior. They couldn't deal with someone like me, the sensitive young man. Now I'm independent and I don't need to deal with anyone. You know what's funny? I'm banning about this meme terminology, but this article was written in 93, but it looks like it could be written in 2023. Okay? Like, this is amazing. This is incredible, Prude. Don't you think?
It's eerily on point, yes.
Zero's life now revolves around computer games. He only ventures out of his...
0 HP, is that you?
This is before he went on to get a job in
This is
Silicon
before
Valley.
he became Scott Alexander, right.
Yeah. This is before he coded Candy Crush. Then he published... When did Slate Star Codex come? Was it 2007?
Around the same time as Yarvin.
Yeah. They used to bounce. There was that one blog, was it called Two Guys with an Opinion?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that was the name.
Yeah, that like they would boost both Scott Alexander, 0 HP Lovecraft, and Curtis Yarvin. Yeah. Zero's life now revolves around computer games. He only ventures out of his six mat in Kawagawa to acquire new game boards, the Green Maze like mines taken from commercial arcade games like Galacta or Space Invaders. At home, he plugs these circuit boards into a special adapter on his own console, analyzes and dissects them from bugs and flaws that allow one, for example, to glimpse a Space Invaders after image as it scuttles across the screen to change the color of a yellow Miss Pac-Man to a purple. You know what's funny? What's so devastating is that it sounds like normal, like nerd culture nowadays, but it's even worse nowadays because the average nerd is a pure consumer. They're not doing what this guy was doing, you know, in his small apartment. They're like just consuming. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that are like, you know, tinkers and doing different things like this, but like very few and far between compared to back in the day. If you wanted to be a nerd back then, you had to actually know what you were doing. Like nowadays, it's not. So, dresses in plain white t-shirts, fitting jeans rolled up about 6 inches. He doesn't look you in the eyes, again, because he's a sensitive young man. When he talks, he answers quietly with a face to the floor. His face possesses genteel features, but is sickly pale. He is an aristocrat of the soul, Prude. He is an aristocrat of the soul.
I like how the Japanese invented like Ryan Gosling from Drive like 20 years before it came out.
Exactly. Sacrificial, nihilistic, doesn't look you in the eyes, smiles that little cutesy smile. to simulate human emotion, of course. As we covered on the Digital Archipelago, episode 5.
Was it the Literally Me episode? I thought it was
I think it
earlier
was-
than that.
Oh, maybe an episode.
I'm
3.
checking the playlist. I have.
Yeah.
This is why we
Yeah.
have a playlist.
Exactly.
Which I need
Prude
to.
maintains it.
Yeah, I maintain a. If you go to my channel, go to playlist, you will find a Digital Archipelago playlist with all of our episodes.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, I need to save this one to it. But yeah,
Yeah.
let me go find out what episode that was. But keep going, keep reading.
I've always liked playing games as a boy. I preferred video games to other kids, Zero offered. So I understand technology. I'm more comfortable with computers than human beings. This does sound like Slate Star Codex.
Yeah.
Finding the manufacturer.
It was
finding
episode
malfunctioning-
3 that we did it.
Oh, I was kind of right. Episode 3. Yeah. But no, I said 5 then. Yeah. Episode 3 of show. Finding the malfunctioning of a computer program or game is thrilling because I'm basically exposing the phony computer experts who invented the game in the first place. Oh my God. He sounds like a typical Spurgoid. I hate to say it. He does.
How old was he when this came out? 27?
Yeah, he's got to be 40.
He's still around.
Yeah.
He's still around. He's now in his late 50s. And he's probably on some forum today. Maybe. Well, we should find him, and
we should
be like, hey, are you still around, Zero? If you're out there, if you somehow come across this by any chance, stretch the imagination, even though we're 2 Westoids that are not Japanese at all. But if you can find us, let us know. Have your views changed? Did you get married? Did you have children? Probably not, let's be honest. But, we want to know. Yeah.
I heard of this episode.
Yes.
I think, Borzi was that's the whole point of this article. The Japanese, they were ahead of the curve, really, with this question. So, also, see those super chats. What are you doing? Look, I'm going to put this up. Sneed, super chats.
Oh, well, hold on. I'll change accordingly.
There you go.
Anyways.
There you go. Zero probably goes to... He's like that one guy on Perfect Blue that takes, We have to review Perfect
I'm sorry.
Blue,
I love your advertisements here on the side. I don't know how if you have a VPN on or if you target or whatnot, but
I have a VPN, but
it's ranged now from Hawaiian shirts to cooking classes to women's lingerie. So it's just been chef's kiss.
It's been total Geo hour right there in the advertisement. Look at that! 1923 on Paramount.
No, thank you.
You seen it, Prude?
No, I have refused to watch any episode. I will, as I said before, I will occasionally see my folks do it and watch it.
Me too.
And the only thing I know is that on one episode they offed a journo. That's the only thing I know. So, that's the only.
And sugar cookies. Oh my God!
That's the only based part of Yellowstone.
Man, Edge really knows me, even though I don't use Edge just for the show. It's because I'm too lazy to open up another Firefox. But look at this: sugar cookies, Hawaiian shirts, and women. That's basically Geo. Sits in an office chair, so he's when he's white t-shirt, stripped boxer shorts, dressed for company, though you wouldn't know. The first is from his buddy Kojak. It's a chart of a mid-70s Bay City roller tour of Japan. So even back then, they were addicted to the 70s Japanese city pop back in the early 90s. So from Pittman to Amori
is forever.
Exactly. Zero cast them aside to render out one from Batman and Nagoya, who claims that the Thunder Dragon and Metal Black video games employ the same game matrix with different graphics. So he's hacking into all these early internet games. Zero gets busy, disseminates a warning through his computer mode that flashes on terminals from Hokkaido to Kashuo. He warns other otaku on the iNet computer network to be from the lookout for some poser named Batman pushing stale info. He's a fake cell. From a few moments as Zero and his visible brethren attentively scan and stores the transmitted data, he is no longer a wimp. He's a big guy, a macho man in the world of otaku. Information is the fuel that feeds the otaku's worship dissemination systems, computer bulletin boards, modems, faxes. For otaku, the only thing that matters is the accuracy of the answer, not its relevance. No piece of information is too trivial for consideration. For instance, from Monster Otaku and Otaku into TV and Manga Monsters, the name of various actors who wore the rubber suits in the Ultraman episode, where Ultraman is consciously shorter than the other episodes and other shows, is precious currency. For military Otaku, it's named the manufacturer of the 55mm armor-piercing ammunition for the PZK 3 tank. For idol Otakus, fanatics who follow the endless parade of cute girl pop singers, it's a specific university. The father of darling idol Hikaru Nishida attended. Anything qualifies as long as it was not previously known. So this really is like kind of the what Byung-Chul Han said about data. Like there's no discrimination between data. It's just all data that's worshipped as a whole. So yeah, this goes on nowadays.
Yeah, nothing has changed except instead of maybe cute girl pop singers, it's e-girls.
Yeah. Do you remember when Tara almost won against Maya in the e-girl tournament?
I was not there. I was not on the scene for that, Gio.
Yeah.
This is why I rely on you for all deep lore information.
Maya almost won, but then Sean won in the end, and the e-girls doxed and leaked nudes of each other. And yeah. Anyways,
good lord.
Although Zero spends most of his waking hours exchanging information with fellow otaku Zoku, Zero only knows his tribe through the internet bulletin board. He has never met any of them. He doesn't even know their real names. Zero speaks of so true.
I don't know how. None of most of my mutuals are not, face lords. So I don't, I will never know who breast milk enjoyer is. Like I only know him through Twitter.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Could you imagine meeting someone IRL like that? I mean, like basket weaving is a little easier for me because like people have seen my face, they know to look for me. But for other people, right? Like what is like you breast milk enjoyer, like they got to go to a restaurant and find somebody, it's just like, oh, I'm right over here, reservation for breast milk enjoyer.
Oh my god. Zero speaks of Kojak, who has never met his 5-year facts-driven friendship, breast milk enjoyer. Besides being a computer game otaku,
I don't know why I picked him. It's just the more like weird name to go with.
JJ the Jackoff plane.
That's right. I'm here for the little engine that touched himself, please. Table for two.
More people in the group chat know about the characteristics and body type of JJ's sister-in-law than people know about like most. Anyways, oh boy. Kojak is an idol otaku. Idols, these interchangeable performers, are on the bread and butter of music business. Every year, 40 or 50 idols appear from nowhere to satiate preteen musical tastes. Well, the musical tastes of 40-year-olds in their basement or shut in their apartments. Some, like singer Seiko Matsuda, become fantastically successful. Others quickly vanish. But Kojak isn't interested in the successful idols, nor does he care about the idol music, that the idol music sucks. All he really wants is the information he can get about Miho Nakayama, a cute as a button up to up-and-coming idol. Of course, he needs to know the obvious data of her star sign, blood type, favorite food, and what her father does for a living. But he would delve much further for arcane and perverse factoids like her bra size, 75A, relatively small, any childhood diseases she may have had, chickenpox, or what assistant sound engineer would have been used on the Sugar Plum single if it is available. Oh my god.
Well, I looked her name up while we were here.
Oh yeah.
1980. So apparently she did a 1987 dating sim developed by Square and Nintendo R&D1, published by Nintendo exclusively in Japan for the Famicom Disk System.
Whoa.
December 1st, 1987. It was one of the first dating sim games. Created and designed by the same guy who also created the Final Fantasy series.
Oh
And
my
by
god!
Yoshio Sakamoto, who co-created Metroid. What an unbelievable... Wow.
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah, you're
words.
right, Ranging Mandrill. That is,
I have
yeah.
no words. Well, what did he say? Put it up.
He said, where is it? Remember the days when girls got embarrassed for leaking nudes? Now they do it for free. Well, they do it for OnlyFans. They don't do well, I mean, some of them do it for free. You just have to. You know what's funny is that our good friend King Salmonfish, I don't know where he is, but he he told me not to tell anybody, so I'm not gonna say. But it's part of his ongoing psyop war. So, anyways,
Of course.
yeah. Scours celebrity magazines. He accesses a nifty server bulletin board, which may carry idle information. Seeks a way to hack into the mainframe of Nakayama's record company with a code cracking program he designed for himself. Oh my god. There is a computer company. He imagines he will find tons of choice tidbits, such as upcoming record store appearances or relevant data from new singles. These will make him a real idol otaku king after he transmits them over the computer networks to other idol-loving otakus. The point for Kojak will not be to relevance of the information, nor of the nature of it, but merely how he got it and others didn't. That's what.
Kojak, Wojak,
There
it's
you
just,
go.
it's a flat circle, folks.
Status as a computer stud. Their obsession with gathering many
Computer stud translates to niche internet micro e-celebrity.
Nothing ever changes. Their obsession.
Japan is just 20 years ahead of the curve.
I wonder. We have to observe what's happening in Japan right now to determine what's
so
happen.
total demographic death.
Yeah. I think that's coming from a mile away, but I mean, I don't know. But then again, Japan doesn't have
immigration.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have the same unique demographic pressures, but maybe in the future, who knows if they manage to color revolution Japan. So we'll see what happens. They'll have to accept every Korean now. They're gonna accept, there you go. So
their racism's a little more hardcore than ours, but
yeah, true.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. Their obsession with gathering many at first glance seems no different from a fanaticism of collectors of rare books or ukiyo woodblock prints, but it is if instead of trading actual items, book collectors were to trade only information about a particular novel. Did you know that Hemingway's original manuscript of From Whom the Bell Tolls was returned because of insufficient postage? The objects themselves are meaningless to otaku. You can't send the Ultraman or a German tank through a modem, but you can send every piece of information about them. Well, I don't know, with 3D printing, maybe one day. Who knows?
One day, you can make your Girls and Panzer, fantasy a reality with 3D printing. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. The otakus are undergoing underground subculture, but they are not opposed to the system per se. Observed sociologist, University of Tokyo fellow Volker Grasmuck, who had studied the otakus extensively. They change, manipulate, and subvert readily made products, but at the same time, they are the apotheosis of consumerism and an ideal workforce for contemporary capitalism. Well, let's talk about that for a little bit, Prude. That's a very good quote. You could easily see how you could basically weaponize autism in favor of the system rather than against it. If you could take disaffected youths and put them into position. I think Silicon Valley is basically trying to psy up a lot of sensitive young men into becoming coders and whatnot. So
they change, manipulate, and subvert ready-made products, but at the same time, they are apotheosis and ideal workforce for contemporary consumerism. Makes me think about all of the programmer socks, delightful. We do weaponize autism. I mean, think about the Tavistock clinic in the UK that's got in trouble by the UK government for the sole purpose of what's the word I'm looking for? They got in trouble because a disproportionate amount of the women that were being targeted in their gender clinic were autistic girls.
Yeah.
So I mean, we even on this side of the right, we've turned the word autism to be nothing about the actual medical definition, but now it is solely as a terminology to describe ourselves and this sort of like in-group tribal identifier that, oh, we're a bunch of spurgs and autists in here. Although really, if we had autism, odds are we wouldn't be as performing as well as we do socially online. Maybe we would, who knows? But I mean, Asperger's syndrome, like those people don't function, outside of like really niche areas, and just who knows, right? If you can, weaponize that to be effective, then, like the one friend I have IRL who is actually autistic, he got a degree in finance and works for like stress testing banks. Like that's what he does now. And so like I was like, yeah, I couldn't do that job, right? Like, oi, take that back. Take what back? Let's face it.
Is he wrong?
Where am I wrong? Where's the lie?
That's just Fishy Frenzy being Fishy Frenzy.
But yeah, no. And this is the other thing too, is parents of the otaku are from the 60s generation, very democratic and tolerant. They want to understand their children, but the kids purposely look for things their parents can't understand in a sense. The parents themselves are immature and childish. In Japan, it is obvious no one knows what the image of a grown-up is.
That's true about like, whoa, they would never print that nowadays.
They no image of what a grown-up is. I mean, even today, right?
Well, like, but Japan, like, like adults playing with toys, like, come on, like,
but that's so true today here in the US as well. Like, what is the image of a grown-up? What is it for like a mid-30s millennial who's noticing the Norwood Reaper coming from them? And they're like, oh, I paid my taxes today. Like, I'm adulting. I got a mortgage. I'm adulting. Like, is this what being a grown-up is? Or I've seen people that are like getting their PhD and they're like 30 years old. And they're just like, I need an adult. And it's just like, you are 30 years old. You have delayed your adolescence because after getting your undergrad, you were like, oh, I don't want to like face the real world yet. So I'm going to go out and get a master's and PhD. Academia is filled with a bunch of disgusting man children and underdeveloped adolescents. They're like, well, I don't want to face the real world.
I'm a sensitive young man.
Yeah, but you're not like a shit lib that I can't stand.
No, it's true.
I like you. I'm making here's the rule. Here's the state of exception. I like you. I hate most liberal academics that are secretly
when
16.
You get to a grad program, yeah, man.
This is what my mother's all the time. She's like, you should go get your master's. She's like, you could go back, you could teach. And I'm like, I don't think you understand that I would.
Yeah, me too.
I'd redact myself.
No, like I tell this to my mother. I'm like, you don't know how bad it is. Like, first of all, a lot of them are like petulant children, and which I am too. I'm a petulant child, but like, you know what I mean. Like, it's a lot of them are like, I mean, I like to think, I mean, the past 3 years I haven't socialized a lot, but still, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I like to think I'm a hermetic monk type of archetype. So maybe I'm just coping. Maybe I'm like Spencer Grunhauer. So, but you know what's funny though about
would you really wear the pink hat for just a sliver of some strange? I don't think you would. I think you have more than enough dignity.
If it was ironic. But then, like if it was a joke and she was based, yes. But like if it's like a serious, like I have to do this to get a crumb, then probably not. But then again, like I mean, if I had a GF that was like kind of a lib, but I managed to like slowly, like, you know what I mean, like slowly convert her, that's obviously different. I have friends that have done this. But if it was like Spencer Grunhauer, where like you have to like wear the thing, and she's talking about like maybe we should open up the relationship. I'm like, nope. Not doing that. That's too far, man. Like an unironic, like wear the pink hat. No, that ain't happening. But anyways, what I was gonna say is that it's such a tragedy. Speaking of women, that Tavistock targeted autistic women because they could have become far-right turf trad wives. That's I know a few English women like this. They could have been the future Mary Harringtons.
Stop tomboy genocide, simple as.
Exactly, 100%. That's the tragedy of it. So, all hypotheticals, am I right, Gio? Yeah, it's unfortunately, yes, all hypotheticals. There is this one.
He still has the best like handle out of all of our regulars in chat. Fraser for the SNE. I love that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. There's this one English woman who follows all of us. but she posts her gigantic. I shouldn't admit that
I
I'm
have
not mute.
no idea who this woman is.
If you follow Renault Failure, then
I do not.
Well, anyway,
I stay away
shouldn't-
from the hornier side of Twitter.
She's a very nice, young, autistic British girl, but she has a thing about posting her online. So
No.
never mind.
What a tragedy.
Yeah. But anyways, should I DM her?
The internet is forever, and if she's putting it out there, no.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. What am I thinking? I was gonna draw her, but then never mind. That could be my in.
We've just had our great revelation about simping earlier, like
True,
I think we're
true.
okay.
Would you guys for the chat? Would you guys look down on me if I dated an e-girl that posted her fun bags online? I mean, I'd tell her to delete
The
her
answer
account.
is
Obviously,
yes.
okay. Then
I don't know.
question's settled.
Chat will answer it, but my answer is yes.
Don't do it, Gio.
Don't do it. Yeah, there you go. Look, if the state of Ohio is telling you don't do it, don't do it.
True. That's yeah. Immortalize her, Gio. Exactly. Where is it?
Inside of you, her 2 Geos.
Immortalize her, Gio.
Oh, that was another Canadian. Inside of you, there are 2 leaves.
Oh boy. Anyways, moving on. So, Grassbook believes that the communication barrier between parents and children lead to a series of reactings of parents by their sons. The Kinzoku bar murder, for instance, bludgeoning his mother and father with a baseball bat. So said would probably be called otaku today. Carried out copycat crimes in the following months. Then there's Miyazaki, but he had communication problems of a different sort. He was an outcast of the otaku community as well as with his own family. Every otaku emphasized that Miyazaki is the strange exception to an otherwise peaceful construction. Miyazaki was not really even an otaku, said Taku Hakiro, a 29-year-old otaku and author of Otaku Heaven, who appeared on the scene to offset the negative otaku image with Miyazaki case had created. If he was a real otaku, he wouldn't have left the house. Isn't that like an indictment though? Like saying that you're not really a part of the community if
you're not a real NEET if you leave the house.
Yeah, exactly.
If you touch grass, you're a fake NEET,
You're a fake
cell if you touch grass.
Yeah.
If you log off, you're a fake cell.
Yeah, that's really he could have been one of us. Yeah,
is that not a little terrifying to think about?
But that happens nowadays though. People's like if you go to Wizard Chan, it's the same. Like nothing has changed. So
no.
Because of his case, people still have a bad feeling about us otakus. They should realize we are the future. More comfortable with things than people. Oh my god. Oh. He's not wrong though.
That was such a real groan.
We're living in the future.
We're living in the 1990s. Return to the 90s. We're already here. We're just in 1990s Japan.
Exactly. I feel like we need to post more Y2K bubbly aesthetics. We need to post more vaporwave. Like,
gotta bring it back.
I shouldn't say it in case YouTube.
All digital archipelago intros now require dial-up noise.
I'm sure we could find an artist friend of ours, a musician friend that could probably do like a dial-up noise vaporwave track for the digital archipelago. We could do that.
There's one out there already.
Yeah, maybe Gifts and Giving could do something because she does a lot of that stuff. So yeah. She's kind of like arguing with me actually in the DMs as we're speaking because we're talking. Never mind about current drama. So,
let's not air out.
Yeah, let's not do it. But
bring back gel buttons. So true, T-dubs. So bring him back.
I can't believe you guys would look down on me just because my autistic British big titty GF posts her big memories online. I can't believe you'd look down on me for that. So, anyways, no, I mean, it's
start each stream with a dial-up startup noise. Yeah, we should. That's so true.
Well, that's how Blank Banshee. That's why that album was so effective, because you have like you have the Windows 95, like the drop beat. Like there was a whole, I'm sure, like there was actually a Mr. Amazing video essay on that album. So that's how it was so effective. What are you looking at?
I'm just finally I'm reading chat, so
Oh, finally. See, I had to horny post to get super chats out of you people. I can't believe this. Is Gio Egrams GMs during the show? Maybe.
Apologize to the Aspies. Oh, okay. Well,
We're
Hans
sorry.
Asperger's was apparently a mid-century collaborator. Say you're sorry.
That's slatternly woman behavior,
Is
Gio.
Lewis Catchit? Does that a Varg PFP?
Yeah, that is. That is. It's. Listen, we're not going to comment on it. We're not going to comment on it.
Look, chat is just as much a member of the show.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they are.
They are. We love our chat.
I'm not stealing any more tickets. We're sorry, fishy friends. We're sorry. Prude, say it.
I'm sorry to the Aspies.
We're sorry.
We'll get there.
Please need those super chats. Louis Cachet is Verge's French name. Isn't that his wife's? Isn't his wife's Marie Cachet? That's his wife, right? Yeah, Marie Cachet. Anyways, moving on. We're not going to come, but I will say the TL's been Kino and Nectar for a long time. Since a long time, there hasn't been Cole. Put it that way. Many otaku makes their living in technology-related fields such as software designers, computer engineers. Does Japan have a problem with them becoming impossible women in coding socks?
Let's find out.
Or no? I wonder. Let's find out. Otaku Mongol, Katsuhiro Nishi.
I doubt that, because they still have that listed as a mental disorder. Like, I believe if you want to transition in Japan, you have to be sterilized.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
How come the Western based. No, but how come the West, like, how come they haven't like denounced, or they can't, or they are? Like I know, like,
it's
have
Japan.
Leftoids, yeah, they can't turn on Japan. They can't, because all the coding socks people, they also watch anime. So, and no, but my thesis though is I feel like Korea is overtaking Japan in the mind of like Western leftists. Like Koreans are like Korean K-pop culture is a much less problematic. It probably still is, but like, I mean, it is problematic because of the way they treat them, but like, it's less problematic from like a political leftoid perspective than the Japanese. Because the Japanese, like, I mean, the Japanese does have like a lot of like liberal, like added, like you can't politically categorize them the way you can in the West. Like they have a lot of political categories that are like, for example, healthcare, assistant, self-sunsetting, like things like that are like pretty liberal. But Japan does have like a huge problem with like misogyny and like that. Like,
well, ironically, you're right though about
South
Korea, because you get actually both sides of the issue getting addressed in South Korean politics.
Well, Korea, they have like a femcel versus incel war going on.
Yeah, you have like you had a male red pill incel political election, and then you've got all these like women that are turning themselves into
voluntary
feminists that are like, yeah, we're gonna just extinct the entire South Korean people because, like, screw the patriarchy.
Well, you know what happens?
We should be paying more attention to South Korea, I think, than
Japan.
We should.
Well, because they're also importing. They're more Americanized than. Ironically enough, they're more Americanized than Japan now.
Oh, they got turbo capitalism going. I mean, they just put a law out for what, like a 52, 58-hour work week.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but plus they're also they're also like importing the American style culture war.
Yes.
Into, I don't think we're gonna have time to cover the hipster article. Maybe
probably not. But I mean, although lower than the rate of the elderly, grade school and college students in Korea have a higher than average self-redaction rate. Over the last 5 years, the number of that kind of event or self-inflicted injuries.
Kind of event.
Well,
where are you reading?
I looked up the South Korean suicide rate.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and it said from 4,947 in 2015 to 9,828 in 2019. Most cases involved people ages between 9 and 24. Jeez.
In
It is
America,
the highest amongst developed countries. The
even
highest.
Japan.
So yeah, like the rate here per media reports 13,000 in 2020 with a rate of 26 per 100,000. Now, of course, these may be COVID related numbers, but this is the highest among developed countries as per new data. South Korea is followed by Lithuania at 20.3, Slovenia at 15.7, and Japan at 14.6, and the United States at 14.1. Turkey has the lowest rate amongst developed countries at 4.4 deaths per 100,000, according to the Economic Times of India.
Do you know why Turkey has the lowest rate of self-redacting?
Because they stone them.
Oh, that too. But no. I was gonna say because of No, I was gonna say because of nationalistic pride. That's why.
Well, yeah, they're based on Erdogan pilled, I guess.
No, but it's like they're like emphatic. Like even when they like, it's funny. It's like that one tweet. That one tweet by I think who was it? I think it was like, it may have been Stalin Frog that said like Balkan nationalists never live in the Balkans. They always live in like London. No, but in Turkey they have like the Turks have incredible amounts of nationalist pride. They like have like, it's a meme, you know what I mean? So that could probably be why, but also like religiosity. Their birth rates are pretty good, if I recall. I want to move to Turkey to marry Byzantium on Twitter. So Byzantium, if you're listening to this, I mean, offers open. Never mind.
Lord.
She'd like rip my head off. She's like intense. She'd like, I would like, that would never work out. Like, she's vicious, man. You know what I'm talking about, Byzantium on Twitter, right?
Yes, I know who that is.
She's vicious, man. She'll like, I'd start to like, do my whole like, like, oh, you want someone to baby you, Gio? Like, I'm like, you want someone to take care of you, and she's like not like that. She'd
tear you a new one because she's like,
yeah.
She's
like an inch away from Radfem Austrian painter.
That with a dash of feminism.
Yeah. Turkish women. Like, listen. I have to disagree with Green Glassful here. No, listen. A lot of Turkish women are good looking. Okay, a lot of them are men and baddies. They're pretty good.
But Lewis has a point. She's an e-girl, Gio.
True. But how else am I going to meet women?
Yeah. Well, you could give up your title, and you could go outside.
True. I could do that.
You could, when you do your workouts, you could top it off with a walk outside your house. It's a start.
True.
It's a start.
It's true.
Fresh air is good for you, Gio.
No, I go. It's some. Well, I haven't gone outside in a little bit, but anyways, it's not. No, I went outside. I took out the garbage the other day. No, I shouldn't say that. Where did I go the other day? I went
outside and took out the garbage.
Me and my old man went to see a job. There you go.
Look, Gio, you could achieve the Apustaya-Aspie relationship. You could. It's out there. It's in your grasp.
Maybe I should just walk around Clifton Hill and like with my sketchbook, and then maybe an art hoe will like come up and be like, "What are you doing?" I go, have you ever read Julius Evil? All that.
Was that a couple? That was like last week's episode where we were talking about we should be reading Imperium in coffee shops.
That's right.
What are you reading?
Have you ever heard of Francis Parker Yockey?
Who is he? Oh, I'm reading something published by Willis Carto. Just like, have you ever heard of the American Free Press?
Yeah. Have you heard of my friend runs this publishing house? It's called Imperium Press. Have you heard of the recent the collected works by Miguel Serrano? Mike should publish Miguel Serrano. That'd be pretty cool. It's impossible.
I'm currently reading a review journal from the Institute of Historical Review.
Didn't they publish Paul Gottfried? They can't be that anti-Semitic. You know? It can't be that bad.
Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy. Oh, I was listening to the Alex Kashuda interview with Paul Gottfried. It's pretty cool.
Have you ever read Yes? Julie.
Where is it, Mr. Patchouli?
In the chat.
Have
you ever
read Yes? What is Yes?
It's Frasier only on the SNES. It's still Lent, Gio. It's got a point.
Have you ever heard of recent bad?
What are you writing? Oh, I'm writing my, memoirs of the Fuentes drama wars on Twitter. It will be read by dozens of fun posters.
Oh boy, what are you writing your book? I'm writing a book right now. I'm also an artist. That alone could probably nab me a GF right there. What's your book on? Neoliberal kitsch. What's that? Okay, all those.
That's how you secure the Art Ho GF. Gio.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, kitsch.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I ripped Norman Rockwell a new one. Really? Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I read about Giorgio.
Okay, now we're just projecting fantasy onto here.
Yeah.
Sit in a coffee shop, Cine Animation says, with a copy of the Metaphysics of Sex. There you go.
So it's kind of like the Kama Sutra. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. No, I can't do that. What would my one-itis think? What would my one-itis think if I did that?
Lord.
Oh, good Lord. Anyways, many otakus make their living in technology, so we read this. However, a manager of the same corporation complains when they excel in front of the computer, otaku types easily lose sight of company goals beyond the project before. It's kind of like Silicon Valley coders. They can also be loose team players. Lousy team players unable to communicate verbally with their non-otaku coworkers. In the corporate world, the team mentality still pervades. If Taku Hakiro is right, the otakus are men of the future. How will these chronically shy people reproduce? Well, with e-girls. What about the sex lives of people who admit their terror of physical contact with another human being? Oh my God, masturbation is better than conventional sex, claimed Hakiro, a self-admitted virgin. I guess I'm frightened of sex. I watch a lot of videos.
Self-admitted incel.
This is so far ahead of its time. It's so true. It's so true. I don't know if it's fear so much as a matter.
Okay, you've got that highlighted. I'm sorry. As the other host of the show, no, I disagree with that entirely.
What do you mean?
It's not better.
Oh no, of course it's probably not better. Not that I would know, but I could imagine. It's like you can't compare the two. You can't. They're in their own different. Okay. Again, it's one of those things that I don't know about. So don't. You
I'm not
probably
giving
me
you.
in.
But I'm simply just saying I don't agree with this.
No, but I don't agree with it either because I feel like there's a certain you can't compare the sort of erotic experience of an actual other person who is embodied in that same experience with you. You can't compare that to masturbate. That's not, you know what I mean? You can't compare being with someone not that I would know, of course, don't take my word for it, but yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Cine has a good point in chat though. I like how the author assumes that the default for sex is reproduction. How far we have fallen, but he says how far we have fallen, which is so true. True. How far have we fallen?
How far have we fallen? Did he say how far?
Yeah.
Oh my God. There. Yeah. Oh my God.
That typo was unintended. Yeah. Okay, Cine.
Freudian slip. I don't know if it's fear so much as a matter of getting along with objects better than people. If it were possible to have sex with objects, then that would be a different matter. It is therefore unsurprising that otakus are fascinated with new technologies such as virtual reality or digital compression as it connects to pornography. The still potential for techno-driven, ultra-realistic pornography and violent experiences via the computer is so great that computer engineers, freelance otakus, as well as computer programmers are furiously designing software that will satiate and satisfy an otaku's sexual needs. Well, we live in the age of AI and Oculus Rift, so Although
Well, there was that clip of I think it came out last year where a guy was playing
I can't read
the
that part, by the way,
Skyrim
but let's say
let's go
can't read that
scroll
part.
further down for us.
Yeah.
But it was the video of his this woman or like his GF walking in on his boyfriend playing Skyrim VR, and all
Oh,
that's
the
on the
sister?
screen. And no, well, the sister, I guess, I don't know, but like on the screen, the guy's just got like I think it was like Ysolda's head right in his hand. He's just like bashing it against the wall, and
Yeah.
it's just like,
Oh, there's that one, but there's also the one where the guy was like having sex with his wife with VR headset, and
oh
he like
Lord,
took a leaked nude of his sister-in-law. That was a green text.
yikes!
Yeah. First of all, if you're a woman, why
Unironic
would you let your
yikes.
man have sex with a headset on? That's stupid.
Neo Coom arrives from the future.
Yeah. Neo Goon Caves. Oh boy. The police are only now beginning to crack down on explicit prawn is illegal under Japanese obscenity laws. A spokesperson of the Osaka Police Department says plans are on the board to increase monitoring of computers, bulletin boards used to distribute and sell illegal prawn. Much obscene material. Speaking, what is that advertisement down there? Oh my god.
Uncensored airport photos. That's
Oh my god.
You're talking about
That
the
had
police
to
and
show up.
smuggling prawn, and there you go. No, I like this bit though. We would probably be more effective in combating crime if we could train reformed otaku. And my immediate
Wow.
brain just goes, a de-radicalization campaign.
De-radicalized incel that has sex.
If only we had more Caleb Canes in the front cover of the New York Times, we would be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But this is the thing that the liberals were right about, was that there was a sort of like libertarian to dissident pipeline back in the 2016 era, and they shut that down real quick. Because to this day, anytime I watch a Morgoth video essay, what's the recommendation feed? Jordan Peterson.
Right. Yeah, so they can't like just give you a BreadTube video because that's not gonna happen. But they'll give you a Jordan Peterson. Which is funny is like, why does BreadTube hate him so much? Like they're obsessed with him, or they were a year or two ago,
A year or 2
years
ago,
ago.
yeah.
But like, it seems like why be obsessed with Jordan Peterson? He's actually doing your job for you.
Yeah, he's doing your job better.
Yeah, better because he's a degree away from the right. He's a few degrees away from the right wing, and like normie cons, and so he's keeping you on the plantation of normie condom. So normie conservatism. So it's like, well, actually, there's plenty of condoms in a CPAC, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind.
Yeah, with plenty of rented out people and the type of quote unquote impossible women that Mike Cernovich likes. They're all there at CPAC.
Oh my god.
I will never be able to get that stupid article out of my brain.
It was a joke, though. It was a joke.
Sure. It was just a joke.
Chemical taste.
Yeah.
I wonder if Jack Posobiec and his wife are hit at those parties. I shouldn't say that.
Puts a whole new spin on the word spook now, doesn't it?
Oh my god. Anyways, but unfortunately we don't have the budget right now. Police believe that Tsutomu Miyazaki's case was an exception, not an omen for the future. Yeah, he's right. Actually, he predicted that it wasn't an omen of anything. I mean, there will be like there will be the chud, mine chuds that will go on fun post in real life. But for every one of those, there's probably tens of thousands, if not millions, that probably destroy themselves in the long run. So, impossible women, impossible friends.
We should put the meme up for those who don't know.
Yeah, we should. But anyways, Strange Days was such a great show. That's one of my favorite cyberpunk films. Howdy to Joshua Ham. Howdy.
Howdy, everybody.
Just need those super chats. I saw a few super chats, but we'll see. We have a good viewership for this episode. So anyways, we're almost done. Different flavors of otaku fetishism. Sidebar, mango otaku, monster otakus. Is there a difference between the two? Yeah. Oh yeah, so Godzilla, Smog Monster, Gamera, Rodan, Ultraman.
Are they talking about fetishism in like the sexual sense, or just the various niches of
various
interest?
niches of
Okay,
otaku?
interesting term to use, but all right.
Military otaku. It's funny because there's a big crossover with certain military otakus and shonens, right? Shonen mangas.
Well, yeah, I literally made a Girls and Panzer joke earlier, so I'd
Yeah.
imagine that there is.
Yeah, Girls Last Tour had that as well.
Yeah.
They love a lot of German military hardware for some reason.
Oh, who doesn't? I'm
Who doesn't?
sorry.
Yeah, true.
That from the machinery to the aesthetic, there's nothing that beats it. This is why every day until the end of time, until someone tops Hugo Boss and Boots and all that jazz, you're
Yeah.
not going to every quote unquote
Even-
bad guy, is
Yeah.
going to be dressed up in some sort of fashy aesthetic, even though
that has
let's
like a
not kid
Sturmgewehr.
ourselves.
Yeah, but
You
like
know,
like a
goes
ray
hard.
gun Sturmgewehr. Yeah.
It's great.
I love how like the bulk carrier in the Sturmgewehr, like the hammer, just like the way it just like you could almost like feel it smashing into the chase on, like you could almost feel it smashing into the carrier, like that really was like an incredibly designed machine gun, the Sturmgewehr. It really, like, they can't top it. Tropical Fish Otaku? They have that? They had that?
I mean, we've got frog autists, so why not?
Look, your future trad wife is right there, by the way. Yeah, there she is. There she is, a future trad wife. Anyways, Imperial Otaku, the Meiji and Showa reigns, down to the second most coveted item, a foe of Prince Mishiku with a blemish on her forehead. Cartoon Otaku, sometimes Hello Kitty. My critical theory professor, she was a chubby white woman that was like 6 feet tall, but she was a Hello Kitty otaku. So like in between reading about Adorno, she talked about Hello Kitty. So chibi otakus, idol otakus, as we know. So yeah, that's the end of the article. Fascinating purview into the future that we live in now. There you go. Yeah, did you know that there is actually a whole culture of bodybuilders that watch anime that are employed by Wagner PMC?
Well, we see him on Twitter all the time.
It's true. It's amazing.
Part of a vast network.
That's being funded by the Kremlin. But we don't have time for the hipster article, but maybe next week we'll cover the hipster article.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the article? That I remember looking up that like this was written in 93. Like I'm literally as old as this article.
Yeah, this is a 30-year-old article that.
Yeah.
I really do think that this has been a critique you've seen from a lot of people that look at like sort of the accelerationist position that are critical of it. They're just like, listen, like whatever we're on right now, this like hyper capitalist sort of shtick that we're on that we want to embrace or like accelerate, you kind of need to look at South Korea and Japan. Like this article came out 30 years ago, and I just look at it and I see the terminally online Twitter fun poster that is a NEET or an incel that connects with that. Like, I mean, this is our forums to some extent, right? Like we all engage information. Yeah. Drama is important for everything. We need to know who said what, when they said this, what blog post was this on. And then you also have to be sure to calculate and determine, everything ranging from ethnicity to education to experience and X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, I think you do want to look at South Korea and Japan for where the future may hold for us in online discourses. I mean, they're not going to be one for one, right? I mean, that's very clearly true. Like, we don't have we don't have like the Japanese sort of idol girl type things. I mean, we've got K-pop.
Or the anime girls.
Well, you've got anime girls, but I mean, like actual
girls,
bands and women singing.
That's more of it. Yeah, I mean,
it's not
K-pop people.
But, yeah, I mean, but they're all shit libs.
Yeah,
it's not like. It's not like what's the alternative? There is a lefty side of this, and I think that
there is.
I mean, those are the programmer socks, Fallout New
Shinime.
Vegas. The people that post like a list of video games. They're like, this is the essential trans core, and it's like every popular video game in the last 15 years. And you're like, huh? I don't think it's the video games, but maybe it is.
Essential
it's
trans
part of
anime.
it. It's part of it. It's part of it.
Yeah.
And then you've got essential trans anime.
Lane
is listed. K-On.
Well, the K-on's enjoyed by
both Austrian
no,
painter
never mind.
enjoyers and troons alike.
Yeah, that post about never mind.
Many such cases.
But yeah, it's exactly. Like it is funny how but also like the ubiquity of Japanese culture within the West, though. That's something that I don't think even they predicted. I mean, in some ways, yes, but like
Don't forget speedrunners. That's true.
Yeah. Oh, I saw Movie Bob comment on an anti-solar punk post by Ulysses the other day.
I love when Bob Chipman pops into this side of Twitter.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Crazy.
Jay Burden is like so. I think Jay Burden's still trying to interview him one day.
That would never happen.
I want it to happen so bad.
I know. It would.
Welcome to the Jay Burden show, and then just leaves.
He would get nuked though by Movie Bob's fans.
Don't even care.
Yeah, it would be worth it. It would be the final hit at Getty. So it would be worth it. No, but I feel like the ubiquity of Japanese, like the thing is though, knowing a little bit about Japanese culture and the Japanese mentality, it's like you're never going to like truly know the milieu of like what life is like there. But I feel like there is a sort of like I would almost dare say kitschified thing with like people that like for example, you go to YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like Korean street food YouTube channels with like literally millions of views each episode, like each thing. Like what's that one woman, the chubby Korean girl, or is she Japanese? Tasty Bacon or something, bacon strips.
I have no idea.
I think Cindy in
I
the
have to
Nation
look
knows
this
what I'm talking
up.
about. It's like bacon strip something. She's like this chubby Korean girl that like every video of hers has millions of views just by reviewing like Thai and like Korean street food. So it's like I feel like
I'm gonna have to let chat and inform me because I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, Dancing Bacons. There you go, Dancing Bacons. Thank you, Sped Kaczynski. Thank you. No, but there's like sort of a I stand dancing. I stand Bacon Chan as well. I mean, I don't know. She's got like sometimes she has.
Good lord.
Yeah, she has that like cute face when she eats something good. But she's got
Okay.
I don't know. I understand the appeal. But I think her boyfriend films her, so it's not like the fantasy is ruined. So, plus like she's got like sometimes she has like a multicolor hair like strip, like she's got the highlights.
Look, when you can make $250,000 a year off YouTube, like
I mean,
ew.
Exactly.
Not my cup of tea.
But like her boyfriend films her eating. That's kind of like
so he's the Instagram boyfriend essentially, but for YouTube mukbang food review videos, which is oddly. I don't know how.
We are suffering in Gio's Goon Cave.
You I have no mouth and I must scream.
I am in my Goon Cave right now. My Goon
Lord.
Cave. No, I'm kidding. But no, I mean, I feel like it's like how should I put it? There is something about I hope Donald Trump. I hope so. Donald Trump. What? What did he say? I think it comes down more of a fetish of extreme and taboo for them more than any actual belief. That's true. No, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like there is a kitschified aesthetic going on where there is like sort of a westernized interpretation of Japanese culture that's coming in, like that's becoming more ubiquitous. Like Zoomers watching anime. Like when I was young, I remember like anime was seen as like weird to watch. Like I don't remember any.
Yeah, there was that weird kids nerd table for the people that watch anime. But those were also the ones that were more likely to be in the emo scene phase.
Yeah.
Bring them back. Bring back those girls, because most of them nowadays are in programmer socks and are beyond women types.
Yeah. Why does Jill understand the appeal of every unappealing thing? Yeah, I am too
Because
intellectually
Gio is an
curious.
aristocrat of the soul.
Exactly. But remember, you must keep to the light, stay to the light, but keep to the dark. So you must have an intellectual armor for, oh, what is this, Prude?
Lest you become one of these.
There you go.
We can be better. We can do better.
That's incredible. Thoughts on Takeshi Murakami? Is he the writer that wrote that book that every art ho reads, the big one? IO8, what's it called?
Time to look it
1-8.
up.
What's that book? The Japanese author. Every art ho reads or pretends to read this book.
Every
It's a big
art
one.
pretends to read this book. It's like saying everyone pretends to read Infinite Jest.
Yeah, that's true.
I own a copy. I've never read it. Are they made out of vegetable oil? Well, they're made out of a lot of things, but they're not women.
Yeah. I've ironically seen a loser male say I couldn't get a girlfriend, so I became a girlfriend. Oh my god, yeah.
Well, that's straight out of the Mary Harrington piece.
That is, yeah. Yeah. Hudakai Murakami, yeah, that's the author. That's the author. No, there was this. Did you see this thread today by that girl, the one like account with the Rhodesian Avi, like the Rhodesian girl, where it's like, if you don't make six figures and you're done for, like, women, like men fantasize about like.
Doesn't this just go back to the whatever podcast thing where we have through the internet and hyperstition, we've just memed ourselves into ridiculous standards on either side.
Yeah.
And everyone needs to just lower their expectations. And I know that sounds dumb, but it's just like when there are people out there that don't realize that most people aren't making above six figures, or that the median household average income is like still ridiculously low in the United States. Don't get me wrong. It's still a shit ton more than it is in other countries. Like it's a lot easier to make money in the US than it is in the UK. But like, it's just like, oh yeah, like we have these ridiculous standards that we have like socially programmed ourselves about. And this is why I mentioned at the beginning about that like Politico article. Like, I don't think anyone is remote, like unless you're a parent and you're already like kind of aware of what shit you have to deal with in public school if you're not already homeschooling them. Like, we have no idea what like again, Pandora's box, the article we covered with Humdog. We have no idea what's about to come next.
Exactly.
Attention span addled, schizophrenic, SSRI, Adderall based women that are, and this also applies to men. I'm not trying to be a complete, my misogyny is it's paternal. It's not out of hate. It's out of love.
Yeah. Exactly.
I hate them, but I'm a women appreciator, But like this issue that's to come, hyperstition, hyper reality, you can be anything that you want. And if anyone says no, it's an existential threat. They are the enemy that must be doing it. We have like easily turned a series of questions that are now wedge questions, and your answer determines your right to exist or not. Are trans women women? If you say no, because that's an obvious basic truth, I'm sorry, your capital will be stormed and your children's private school will be shot at. Like, this is what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh man, it's the future looks pretty bleak, but also like, I mean, the way that media shapes identity is something that we sort of, people, especially at this time, like the early and late 90s, people thought of, but really, like, let's face it, they didn't know the full bore implications of having a whole society where both people young and old like are flooded constantly with this. You know what I mean? So like you mentioned, like the self-redacting, the sunsetting rates.
I imagine that'll go up in the US pretty soon.
No, but I mean, in the US, it's like mostly like middle-aged older men.
Yeah, for us, it's mainly whites.
Yeah.
Like
in
middle-aged
Korea,
white
though,
men.
It's young people. You know what I mean? Like,
they see no future. Like, I understand, like, when we talk about, like, the incel culture or, forums that on the internet that talk about, like, why would I bother participating? It's the same thing that we're seeing in South Korea. Like, if I were 17 years old in South Korea and I were looking at my political options are, to watch women voluntarily engage in some sort of deny sex for the purposes of, like, equal rights or whatever, which to
Yeah.
some extent, I don't think, and both men and women are screwed in that situation because they're both being taken advantage of by a system that, has been taken off any safety rails and is full accelerant into like 52, 58, 60-hour work weeks.
Yeah.
Work yourself to death. There's no time for room or family. And oh, by the way, you have to take care of yourselves. China's going through the same thing, as is Japan. And my options politically are also, well, we recently had a corrupt president. We also have to deal with the fact that there's the United States, then there's North Korea, then there's China. And on top of the fact that it's almost impossible for anyone to get estranged or get married for that fact, I could understand why some of them might look through the portal through the rope and understand that might be the better option. I understand it. I don't encourage it, and I hope that people can get help. But I mean, again, it's like we said with this article, if you want to look into the future of like weird techno capital, accelerationism, just look at, South Korea, look at China,
Yeah.
look at Japan. And then,
Do you
again, they're not one for one, but I
Yeah.
mean, as we talked about in a few episodes back, like when China's got like a GFAI that the men talk to and do confession with, we have digitized and accelerated Ivan Illich's medical nemesis, but now it's with hyperreality.
Rates are just returning to the mean from awesome 90s lows. Oh boy.
Oh.
I found the thread if
Oof.
you want to read it really quickly. It's
Sure,
really
sure.
I don't like
super chats.
I want to see your thoughts. I mean, you've had a GF and all that stuff. So I just don't I really, to tell you the truth, like nothing personal against this account, but I really detest this type of thinking, by the way. I really don't. Maybe because it's targeting someone like me.
Right.
That's why I hate it.
And our Knockercom documents the struggles of cat girls past and present. Is this a woman or a man?
I don't know.
Okay.
It could be I don't know.
Okay. I will just
I want to think it's a woman. But
okay, well, cat girl Kulak. Oh, via Marxist-Leninist. This could either be a beyond woman or an actual woman. Okay, let me try and read this.
But a lot of mutuals follow this person, so I don't know. It's maybe based. Girl?
Men fall into nice guyism for the same reason women become school and career obsessed. It's what they're looking for, so assume that that's what the opposite sex is looking for. Women want high status war chief, but they'll settle for a CEO, and men want someone who loves them and is consistently pleasant to be around. Obviously, both are impossible dreams, and neither will even get 1% of what they want. But
a woman that likes me is an impossible dream. A woman that's nice to me is impossible.
It sounds like a bit of projection.
Yeah, go ahead.
But okay, I'll save my thoughts.
Feminism taught that. Okay, so you know what I don't like about this thread, because it's partially correct, but it's being purposefully bombastic to like demoralize.
Because that's Twitter. That's the troll gaze. You have to say stupid shit with authority in order to be seen. But feminism taught men and women are the same, and they see you trying to be more successful and pleasant and fun in hopes that salvation will somehow come to them. That's pretty true.
Yeah.
People are objecting to the "no women will love you for yourself" thing. Oh, wait, where do we go? Oh, we're back.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Women are objecting to the "no women will love yourself" thing. It's true. Not all like a man aspires to love. No girl will see you weeping because you just lost all your money and know your career's over for good. Imagine themselves saying, "It's okay, I'll take care of you." Whereas men will have fantasies of some girl they like facing complete ruin and be around to rescue her. I can say for bros, no woman dreams of white knighting you.
Well, that is true, but I think, like, again, in
the white knighting presented, that's probably true in the way that when women say "I can fix him," what they mean is that they can longhouse you.
Yeah.
But
if he doesn't get longhoused, if he's stubborn, then they keep coming back for more.
Well, yeah, that's how you get them.
Yeah.
The male fantasy is that a girl will love him for himself, regardless of strength and status, is the male equivalent of the female fantasies that men would find them just as attractive at 400 pounds. They're both, well... This is... Okay.
I don't know. No, a lot of men will settle.
So far, I'm agreeing with this to some extent. Men are not lovable at any income, just as women are not beautiful at any size.
That's what I totally disagree with. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
That's where it loses me. Because what about, like, okay, you know how much strange that, Gustav Klimt got when he was a starving artist? Or, like, Egon Sheila. Well, that's actually a terrible example. Egon Sheila had a lot of perverse.
But not even.
You know
this.
what I mean? That's
What I'm getting at is that this totally.
a lot of, look at how many women in there. Okay, think of all the women in your life or that you know of that have stayed with a loser guy that doesn't have money. Why do they stay with them? I mean, maybe eventually they'll leave him, but
Or that relationship has infidelity and other issues. But I mean,
yeah.
this thread so far, there's some truth here, but my brain is also thinking like this doesn't include socialization as a factor. It doesn't
Right.
include religion. It doesn't include culture. It doesn't include ethnicity. Like it's just a very broad spectrum. One
It's
side,
Sigma Grindset type of.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Men are not like I just.
If you don't have your place, vehicle, income source is basically equivalent to not being able
But
to
you
see
do
your
need to
toes.
provide. That's the thing.
Yeah,
What are
that's
men taught to
true.
be? And this is what we are supposed to be. We're meant to be providers, defenders of the castle that is our home. If I can't afford a castle because, my country is allowing a bunch of fucking Chinese proprietary interests to buy out most of the, like, areas of, say, Toronto or New York City, then, like, yeah, why would I want to be there? Well, at the same time, if I got to, like, find a, like, $358,000 home out in the middle of nowhere because I don't want my kids to be brutally beaten or even myself get, stabbed to death because I don't want someone to vape near my infant child.
Like what happened in Vancouver
Like what happened,
recently.
recently. Then, I mean, this is a problem. I would agree. But this also comes down to the usual Marxist bit about my material conditions.
No, but I think
people
like
still fucked, people still had children, and people still had marriage ceremonies and still had children and families, even in the camps that the British had for the Boers. We still had plenty of children during the time of the Great Depression. I mean, like, in the face of all of human history, here's another example. If you were to look at all the historical records during the Black Plague, guess what? People still went to church. People still paid their taxes. People still got married. People still had kids.
Yeah.
But I like it. This is just, I think, again, this is as I wrote, this is the troll gaze. We're going to take something with a partiality of truth. We're going to blow it up for the purposes of getting the most clicks and views, and we're going to be, again, like, look at the profile picture, look at the name, Catgirl Kulak with a weird
and a Rhodesian woman
androgynous looking picture.
No, but like, look, okay, so says that you have to give up at least one, possibly two. So about, I want regular sex, regular hot dinners. You can have a frigid shrew who cooks you dinner, a detached Prozac wife who doesn't say anything, or a horny BPD chick who needs you to bathe her when she's depressed. Prude.
Which one's gonna last? Which one's gonna last longer?
Probably BPD.
Which one isn't? No. Which one isn't going to kill my kids in the bathtub?
Oh boy, the shrew.
The shrew will.
Sorry. No, but could you take the horny BPD chick who you have to bathe her when she's depressed? I mean, I'm not going to entertain
that relationship.
That's stupid.
That relationship will be fun at first, and then you realize
but it will be terrible.
It will be terrible 6 months in, and if you do it, I highly recommend that you don't move in with her.
Watch the Drew Barrymore film Mad Love. That's a good picture of it.
That's all I'm gonna, that's all I'm gonna say. But watch again, Mad like Love. Cody Browning is right. No one was ever happy. No one ever owned a house.
I love that. But the thing is, though, is that
but it's also goes back to how you view yourself. Like, this goes back to like all of the usual bits about how does one treat themselves? How do you view yourself? Do you carry yourself like a depressed piece of shit, or do you carry yourself like a go-getter that could get the girl if he just went out and did it? Like, this is why, like, again,
I'm very much of the former. I hate to say it.
This is why the PUAs are right on a lot of shit.
Yeah,
it's because it is a lot. It's about frame, and if there are so many guys who were jobless or were in between work or did temp jobs because they had frame, they could get it. Now, are those guys married? Are they happy? Probably not. I haven't really talked to them since college, but I mean, hey, like, there's clearly an avenue here in the same way that, like, in religious communities, like, even lower income people, like, school teachers or something, they still make it work. But if we view things in any lens of like, well, what do you want? Here are your choices, horny BPD chick or or shrew. And I'm just thinking to
Or
myself,
like Prozac up girl boss.
but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, this thread and these sort of like clickety-clack back and forths about the nature of the sexes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well,
I hate this
I'm
discourse.
sorry, Stephen Sondheim beat you to it in 1970. Like,
Only you would know that.
go read, listen, go watch Company and go tell me that I missed something, because that thread is the same thing. Because it's just that whole bit there, what do you want to get married for? Because all the men that are bitching about wanting to like go out and get some strange, whereas the other people are like, well, no, there's some value to this. It's the ongoing debate that is old as time in our sort of modern world. So
I mean, I think most men, like most young, sensitive young men, I mean, yeah, having sex is great, but I think most of them actually do probably like want a relationship and marriage. I feel like maybe just because I'm a right-wing trad bubble, but I feel like there is a lot of men who just want to go out there and get strange, but like I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Zoomer, but if those Zoomers I'm talking to, they're like, yeah, I want to get married one day, but it's impossible. Like, I feel like the problem with the thread is that it's basically a reiteration of like 6 figures, 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 inches. And it's like,
yes.
Like the whole line about,
and that is,
the
and
very
a lot of
first
that
tweet
thread
what
is
fucked me up.
projection.
Yeah. No, it's projection. Like it's
because Donald Trump Gaming says it in chat. That guy's probably a man, and I wouldn't be surprised. And that person is probably embracing some sort of feminized self-image with a little bit of Marxist-Leninist analysis on top to supplement the fact that that person is deeply unhappy.
Do you want real Marxist-Leninist analysis? Is when you look at the sociological studies of people who lived in these like subjugated states, like in like the precariat people or whatever, like it's just don't be fat or weird. Well, Joshua Ham, I am done for. I am both fat and weird.
You're working on one of those.
Well, I'm working on one of those, but one of those will never change. No, yeah, I mean, I've had good relationships with women.
Kaczynski is saying, getting some strange for the sake of strange ain't gonna make you happy.
Yeah,
it's true.
That's true. Yeah. 6 inch. I think the 6. No, I'm not going to say anything about that. It's not gonna go very well. But isn't the G spot isn't it only like 2 inches up?
Oh God.
No, never mind. Anyways, my point being is that, like, I feel like when you look at situations of times of economic and social instability, the means of stability change socially. Even a Marxist would say. So why am I here? I shouldn't say anything. Oh my God. Thank you. The G spot's not even 2 inches up, if I recall. So the G stands for Gio. Renew just announced that tomorrow is Fat Bitch Friday. Yes, thank God. Femoid and that. You know what's funny is that Haas, Haas Infra Haas. He was on this Twitch stream with an e-girl, and she asked him how many holes are down there, and he's like, "Well, there's 2 holes." He's like, "No, there's 3." But I'm like, technically there's 3, but one is inside the other. So is that not a function of that overall apparatus? You know what I mean? Like, it was a trick question for Haas. I felt sorry for Haas. That was a trick question. You know the clip I'm referring to, Prude?
No, because I don't watch this shit.
No, it was a
sorry, I don't. It's just, this is outside my wheel. I don't watch this stuff.
No, but it was a viral clip to, like, it was an ownage of Haas, but it wasn't really owning him because one hole is in another, technically. So it's like female anatomy. Well, I'm actually, I look up a lot of muscle groupings to draw, so that's. No, but you know what I mean? Like, it was a trick question. It was like they made Haas look like a goober, like he was an incel. Like he didn't know anything. But I don't know. It's just like it was a trick question. I felt like it was unfair to Haas.
This all goes back to
just a degenerate insult. Oh boy.
Oh,
Gio is sick.
Thank you,
Oh,
Whitworth. Thank you. Oh,
oh, it's in Gio's reference folder. No, but anyways, what was I had a better point than devolving into this juvenile nonsense. But
the
you
point
people
is
notice how the viewership only went up the moment I start talking about this.
God bless.
Gio's Goon Cave's no longer Gio's.
This goes back to who said it in chat? It was Honeybud saying, "I love the Patrice O'Neill bit where he asked women how they'd keep a man." Because we haven't changed from that.
Yeah, we haven't.
We have reduced women to holes.
Yep.
And we still do that to this day. It's even
This
worse.
is ironically Disadium, by the way, reducing women down to holes. Yeah.
And so, and men want more than that. But
did Destiny debate about the G-spot? I think I remember that. Destiny was talking about that. That it's not real.
Me. God help me.
Yeah.
All right, I'm changing the audio thing.
No. Anyways.
To the super chats, Gio.
Super chat time. No, but I had a greater point. Okay, so my point was that when you look at for example, in Europe, it's already trending towards this, right? In North America, it will be like this, especially in big cities. If you're a man who has an intergenerational home, like say your grandfathered a home, then that would be seen as a sign in times of economic scarcity. That would be seen as like a sign of wealth, even though it'd be like a crappy like middle class bungalow. You know what I mean? So it's like it doesn't account for the fact that like women still are largely more social creatures than men, and so there are like hardwired things that like women look for, but I feel like there's a lot of malleability there. You know what I mean? I could be wrong. I don't know. Default, you do feel weird from being here. It is very weird. But what are you gonna do? Default, you want me to drop you a link to educate us about the G-spot question?
Jesus Christ!
No, I need a woman. Where's Kate? Where's Kate here? Kate usually is in the chat.
Get me out of here.
Get me. Okay, so it's super chat time. I'm scrolling up. Prude, any last minute shilling?
Tune into Patrick Casey's channel later this afternoon. That's where I'll be next.
There you go. Amazing. And like I said, next week I'm going to have a Solo Variety Mega Show. And Prude's going to be on with our good friend Christopher Sandbatch and
Charlemagne this Saturday.
Charlemagne is really calling out NRX. He's really taking names, eh?
He's been doing good.
On Telegram. He's been
fighting, with our
the
friends.
NRX people.
Yeah. Or the more techno-optimist Landians.
Yeah, he called out Spanjo recently. So I think let me go right to the top to see if there wasn't here we go. Oh man, there's a super chats I missed. One of them was from Patrick Casey. So let's go up. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like I feel like I really don't like this discourse around like dating and women preferences. It's all stupid. Like I feel like there's probably still a bunch of like normal women out there. It's not like it's totally demoralization against sensitive young men, against incel loser doomers such as myself. So it's I mean I don't want to give in to the black pill. Put it that way. I feel like it's probably not good for young men especially. Or like I'd like to feel like I'm still spiritually young man, even though I'm 30 years old. Because Anyways, here we go. Our first super chat. I'm getting to it. Here we go. $9.99 by Yanislav. Hey Gio, looking to commission some art for my upcoming wedding and marriage. Are there any artists in our sphere that would you recommend? Well, Matthew the Stout. I mean, if I can't do it, Matthew the Stout, probably. Or I have a bunch of them. My friend Sheepdog, my friend Fausty, Dora, Wide Dog. Like, there's a bunch of them. Probably Matthew the Stout would be a good one to look at. So there you go. Thank you very much, Yanislav, for the 99. Thank you very much, my friend. Moving now to the next super chat. Oh, I missed one. Oh my god. Yanislav. Yeah, sure. Oh, I love that one. Like, I love that one of yours. That's a pretty good one.
I made it while you were going off.
Oh my god.
Thank you, wojak/studio.com. Greatly appreciate it.
They have a wojakstudio.com.
Yeah, they do, and they make these little PNGs for Wojaks that you can put them in anything.
Oh my god.
I was informed of this when I had like some diehard Frog fans just messaged me some Prude Jacks. I was like, these are great. Where'd you make them? He's like, Wojak Studio. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're great.
I'm trying desperately to go down to Patrick Casey's one.
Scrolling.
You make me one? Can you make me one?
Sure, I probably could. I'll make you one.
Oh, here we go. $2 Sneeding by our good friend Patrick Casey. Go and watch Restoring Order tonight. It's going to be with Prude and Ryan Turnip Sneed. Yep. So
I have no idea what we're talking about, but
I need some Fez money.
It'll be topical.
$2 super sticker by Corbin, our good friend, good patron of mine, Corbin. I have to look up the super sticker. If Corbin can inform me what he posted, so might have to go to YouTube Studios.
Yes.
I believe there's a few more after this. So
yes, apparently I have to apologize again for the Aspergers out there.
Oh my god. So Fishy Frenzy could sneak some super chats.
Oh, I think he did send one, and that's why I have to apologize again. Smears. So true, Smear. So true.
For $2, stop horn dogging! I will try, Smears. But thank you for the $2. $5 from Fishy Frenzy. Apologize to the Aspies right now, Prude. Hans Asperger was apparently a mid-century collaborator. Say you're sorry. Because real autism is far right, in our opinion. Well, actually, there's plenty of autists on the far left.
I was about to say, that's I think it's pretty equally distributed.
There is, yeah.
So I don't know if I could entirely apologize, because some of them are leftists.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the meme of the fork in the road and the two castles.
Yeah.
It's like either you become a coding socks impossible woman if you're a sensitive young man with autism, or you become a far-right reactionary that's going to be a future stormtrooper. So there's no in between.
I stand with Smear, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just when I, really go off.
It keeps letting me add more avatars, so I think I should create PFPs for when we stream for every occasion. This is great.
Yeah. That's amazing. You should. I'll even change mine. But Prude, is the G-spot real or no?
Good God.
I heard it's a myth.
Each woman responds differently, but I would go with that. There are places, yes.
I'd imagine each woman responds differently.
But Owen has sent.
Tell me you got to romance them a bit. Like you guys, like listen, romance. You got to keep romance alive, okay? Some basic foreplay. Anyways, $5.50 from Sam153 for Sneeding. Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you, my friend. And then after that, we have, so there you go. Then we have another one. I can only imagine what the comments are saying about me.
Chat's been echoing my sentiments.
I feel weird for being here. Okay, I'm almost down to the bottom. Corbin, I believe, sent just a painter's palette. Oh, it was a cool pair. Thank you, Corbin. Thank you for that cool pair. I'm going to look it up in the Recruiter Studio. $5 by Owen Zaleski.
Yeah, let's not confuse him with that.
With the other Zaleski. Hi, is there a mini book you can recommend recommend a modern art? Planning on teaching my high school seniors about it, but I don't want to just say modern art bad. Well, art after metaphysics. There you go. Teach your high school students art after metaphysics, which I'm covering. Which the third episode. That's another thing I forgot. The third episode of Art After Metaphysics for Giant Reviews will be out this week. It will be on Anselm Kiefer and Zedzala Biskinski and Joseph Byers. So other than that, there's plenty of good ones. I believe the Robert Hughes book, Shock of the New, would probably be good to teach high school kids that are more advanced. So look up Shock of the New by
Do
Robert
not
Hughes.
put up subject to changes super chat on. I am not dignifying that with a response.
Oh, I can't wait for that one. $2 by Mel and Destiny Classics, an evening with Liz Ward watch. Oh, that's where Destiny was debating the G spot. So
okay.
Yeah. Prude, what for what is sex like, Prude?
Ask your mother.
I'm not doing that. Come on, Prude, you can't cuck us like this. Oh, he's gonna leave the show.
I'm not enabling this. I'm muting myself.
The Geo spot. It's like when Wyatt describes sex as like putting a finger in like the roof of your mouth and like. Do you remember when Wyatt did that? He finally had sex and he was describing it as like fish hooking a roll. Like that's what it felt like. What? Good old Wyatt. Wyatt had another viral thread recently about mental health.
I did not see it.
About we should open up the
app
institutions.
is not installed on my phone. But yes, we should bring back the asylums.
Fishy frenzy for $2. That's just what incels need to know.
Have you thought about talking to women?
You can't just ask a woman what sex feels like.
No, obviously not, but you could try getting it yourself.
Bro, that's impossible.
I'm not putting myself into this position. No, I'm not dignifying this. No.
Our patrons want it.
No.
No.
God bless.
I need to. Cack. It's so easy. Prude one. Wyatt's Afghanistan thread was a masterpiece. I didn't read the Afghanistan thread. I have to look it up. I think I may have read the Afghan thread. So Peter Young the second, for unless you have more super chats, please sneed them. Prude, what are your favorite church hymns?
Well, I like most of the hymns that we do in Vespers. I mean, this is the fun thing about Orthodoxy is that the Tapporians and they're going to change the God, I can't pronounce that word off the top of my head. But I mean, they change. But I mean, one of my favorites is "O Gladsome Light" that is sung at Vesper service alongside the Little Dismissal Simeon song. Tone 6 is probably my favorite in terms of the tone systems. Tone 6, 1, and 8 are my favorite because those are the 3 that I can definitely do. I haven't mastered the rest yet. Although in due time, I hope to help out with the choir and more and more. Although I'm soon to be baptized, so that'll be even better because then I can do it fully. Yeah, "Oh Gladsome Light" is definitely one of my favorite ones. I particularly like the way that my parish sings. We hymn out the creed together as a congregation. So I mean, the Nicene Creed or the Our Father is done very well. I really do like, and this one has moved me to tears. I like the Vladimir Morrison. It's kind of called the Appalachian Orthodox version of "Christ is Risen." So if you just look at Vladimir Morrison's "Christ is Risen," the Paschal Tapporian, it's very Protestant in the way that it is sung, but it is a very old resurrection Paschal Tapporian. I mean, it's just very beautiful. And it reminds me of, growing up, the few times I would go to church as a kid. One of my favorite Protestant, stuff I can remember from hymnal books were "He Lives," the Great Doxology, and "He Lives,"
I think I've heard of "He Lives."
Yeah, he lives, Christ Jesus lives today. And then there's another one, "Rescue the Perishing," "Rescue the Perishing, Tend for the Dying." Those are 3 ones that I really remember a lot growing up as a kid. Mainly because whenever we weren't overseas, we would visit my grandparents around not too far from where I live now. And we would go to this like tiny Baptist church out in the middle of the woods. And, you'd get used to that kind of music. And then you'd go back overseas and the military chapel stuff was non-existent. So I didn't really grow up with a lot of Christianity except for the musical bits. And I still love those. But yeah. Yeah, if you want to shoot your shot, please don't start with that question. She's right. But God bless. Please don't
look at the Mutant, if you want me to ask Prude in the BAP voice, then you're gonna have to sneak a super chat. So if you want me to do that. Geo destroyed him. It finally redacted. It finally happened. I always liked, even though it's like a modeling and like pop culture song, you know that, what's it called? I once was lost, but now I'm found. What's that one?
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace. Yeah. I don't know why. I know it's like
My mother would
everywhere.
always sing that at night when I was a kid. It's one of my favorites.
I love Amazing Grace because it's sort of like you know, in the movie where like the group of friends, like, you know, you're on an adventure and it's like the down period, you know, it's like you messed up, but then it's like you have that little bit of hope. It's like that, you know. Oh boy, we do have some super chats. Mutant.
They're both. You enabled this, Gio. You enabled this.
I'm very slatternly when it comes to super chats. I'm oh my god, I can't believe it.
Can we hold on. Okay, yeah. This is basically you know, Mr. Gio's slatterly loving posts.
Yeah.
Just trying to play off Ladies Chatterley's lover, but anyways.
I got that from Coach Red Pill, slatternly woman, a fallen woman. I love that term. A slatternly woman. So okay, in the BAP voice, hey, Prude, sex, how this feel? Is it okay? There you go. Hope you got your $5 worth out of that one. Cody Browning for $5. Fox Mold is his X-Files posting. Fox Mulder investigating if the G-spot is a psyop will be the next pro-white X-Files. Well, there you go. I hope we inspired the next pro-white X-Files. Cody Browning, follow him on Twitter for the pro-white X-Files. Well, no, I mean, it's like become popified. That's what I meant, default. It's become popified. It's in every movie. And Prude, please hit Gio with a lead pipe.
I'm not going to do that.
Maybe that could happen. Was there really be a Digital Archipelago episode without proving Freud right once again?
That's the free space on the bingo for both of us.
Yeah, Cody, you better start Shield posting. That'd be amazing. Well, actually, the Shield is kind of pro-white, but Gio is a certified spiteful mutant at this point. He deserves everything he gets as long as he continues his way. I can't tell.
There's something sort of strange about someone with like a weapon as their PFP posting.
No, he explained which one it was, though.
Oh, I know. He did that a few episodes ago, though.
Yeah.
The Whitworth rifle from the Civil War. But yeah, like...
Oh, man. When Vic Mackey stuck his 45 into that prostitute's bikini. That was a great scene. Owen Zelensky, once again, thanks for the rec. Any advice about posting art online? I feel self-conscious about my art that is overtly Catholic Christian as being kitsch. Don't be, my friend. That's not kitsch. I mean, there is a form of like Christian Protestant kitsch, but like, I don't know. I wouldn't be overtly conscious. Just make sure that like your posting like is sort of descriptive as well. I notice people do like when artists go out of the way to explain some things, but just post on YouTube, Instagram, usual stuff. So there you go. This has been a great episode, Prude. So I feel like thank you all.
The first half was great.
Oh yeah, of course. Then it descended into a monstrosity. Madness. So yeah, watch Restoring Order tonight with Patrick Casey, Prude.
At 7 p.m. Eastern.
7 p.m. Eastern. Watch this Saturday for Prudent Observations with Christopher Sambach
and
Charlemagne. And of course, Monday hopefully will be the next installment of January Reviews, Art After Metaphysics. And of course, it's going to be on Prude's channel this Thursday. And then of course, Solo Variety Mega Show next week on Wednesday. So sorry, I'm a bit parched. So it's gonna be on Prude's channel. So
you're a bit parched after all this thirst we've been talking about for the last hour.
I know. I drank a lot too. My key nutrients drink. So No, I'm a bit famished. Sorry, famished. That's right. It's a better word. I need a shower and whiskey and a cigarette. I also need a cigarette after this episode, so I only smoke occasionally now. Anyways, as always, yeah, smoke something. Loyal soldier, even at maximum thirst. Exactly. Thank you to all the Gio cells, all the Digital Archipelago heads, all the Prude heads, Greer heads, Casey heads. Thank you all. God bless. Goodbye. Too sweet.
See you, gents.